Okay, good morning, everybody. To those that have joined us early and that are here to participate in our weekly market event. You may notice there's no Carlos this morning. And John and I coordinated to make sure we wore blue. We didn't. It just happened. But good morning, John. Welcome.
Peter, how you doing? It's one of those weird mornings where I am you and you are Carlos.
We're both pretending to be someone else and probably doing a poor job of it. But welcome. Yes, indeed. It was an interesting weekend for me with just trying to watch the news, wait and see what's happening. It was pretty quiet. Not a lot of news that were affecting the market, at least not that I could find. But in the process, I ran across some other interesting things. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. Maybe the first thing we could talk about is we can take a look at... John, how was your weekend? Did you do anything exciting? Tell us, lovely tales of adventure.
Well, let's see. Saturday, I worked on dehumidifying my mother's garage and also odor reduction. So trying to remove some moisture and some odor from her garage in preparation for selling her house. Okay. That was step one. And yesterday I hosted a bit of a dinner for my family at my house.
Oh, a dinner. What did you cook? I need to know.
We had chicken with like a white wine mushroom sauce. It was quite good.
Okay. Wow. All right. Look at you, Mr. Fancy.
My brother-in-law had hamburgers because he doesn't eat anything weird. So I always have to cook 2 meals. No big deal. Not grouchy at all about that.
So you went and made a meal. You know, I worked with a guy once who would do that. Like, he would actually travel with a pack of hot dogs and buns because no matter where he went in the world, he said, I don't like their crazy food. And he lived off of hot dogs. He went to France and decided he's just eating hot dogs because he didn't want to eat their weird food. They serve escargots, and they have other food in France. It's known for its food.
They even have hot dogs, bro.
I'm sure they probably do. But anyways, yeah, it's people like that who refuse to try anything. It surprises me sometimes, but
it's interesting, Peter. And I've gone on a rant my wife does not want to hear ever again, and I guarantee you she's not heard the end of it. But I think I've done it in the Variable Traders room and during my mic time too. I don't get it. Like, you're an adult, just eat the food. Just eat what's made for you. Just grow up and eat it. And get a hot dog when you go home if it was no good. I don't know.
I agree. But all right, well. Anyways, if he's listening, too bad, man. Grow up. Eat the food.
Sorry, Billy. Sorry.
Yeah. Call him out by name now. All right. All right, let's take a look at the economic calendar. Not much happening today. Pretty quiet. It looks like we've got just the New York, the Empire State Manufacturing Index coming out at 8:30. So that's in about 24 minutes. And then we've got the some industrial production data that's coming out at 9:15. That's it. That's it for the day. Pretty quiet. So not much going on there. If we take a look at the gappers list, it looks like we're gapping to the top side today. Everything's in the green, or at least all the stuff on the gappers list so far. So it's still early. So, there's lots of time for this stuff to move. And certainly the market's got a lot of room to move, doesn't it? Because if we take a look at the overall market, I was looking at these daily charts here in the market, and, we are stuck in this range. And if you zoom in, it looks horrible, doesn't it? It looks like but the market's been doing this for like 5 months now. Like it's been a long, long time that we've really been just moving in up and down and up and down in this range. And recently, in the last month and a half, the range has gotten even tighter. We're in this, stuck in this narrowed range here. We're towards the bottom end of it, but let's not forget, you got to zoom out on these charts sometimes just to remind yourself, like, we're still at all-time highs, right? This is a whole area of all-time highs that we first came into in September of last year. But have been here ever since, right? I mean, around November, early November, we thought, this is it, man. The market's taking off again. We had a couple of days. Let's get in closer here. You can see in November, right? We had these gapping days, like 4 in a row. Bam, 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 right? We were gapping higher and higher. And that was really it. We sold off immediately thereafter. And then we just started. That set the extent of the range, right? Both the top side and the bottom side. We have not gotten out of the range that was set in those few days in November ever since. So, we'll have to see where we go here. I'm actually very surprised with the war in Iran and everything that's happening, that the market has not moved out of this range, presumably to the downside, of course, with that news. But it hasn't. It's still sitting here, despite what everything that's they've attempted to do. And, of course, the oil prices that you thought might, prove to be a big drag, which certainly generally are, but, it hasn't been enough to move us out of that range. Speaking of oil prices, I don't know if, John, you've been following along with that. There keeps being this weird news on oil. Oil is, I don't know, maybe as a Canadian, I don't quite understand, but there's a U.S. obsession with oil. Oil drives so much conversation. Presidencies have been toppled by the price of oil. It seems like oil drives the economy. The price at the pump, that's like, if there's one key stat I always see during election cycles and everything, it's always the price of gas at the pump. I'm like, it's just gas, man. Like, okay, it goes up, it goes down. But, I get it's an underlying product for so many other things.
Yeah, it's the election thing everyone knows, and it used to be the gallon of milk too, but I don't think people are in the milk that much anymore. So I wouldn't be surprised if Gen Z couldn't care less what a gallon of milk costs.
Yeah, because they're busy milking nuts and almonds and soy.
That's right. Yeah,
trying to milk,
which is always expensive. Yeah, that's always pricey. So yeah, no, gas is up.
Anyways, over the weekend, there was news that the Trump administration is allowing drilling off the California coast. Now, this is news because I think it was Santa Barbara in 2015 when there was this big oil slick and a big leakage. And since then, oil has not been allowed because of environmental concerns. Well, we all, I guess you probably by now, everybody's generally familiar with the Trump administration's feeling about environmental concerns and has said, you know what, the price of oil is more important, and we need to restart production. Now, there was no indication. What was interesting to me in the articles, they say the Trump administration orders the restart using a War Measures Act, but I don't think that's an immediate thing. Like, I don't think you just, flick a switch and oil starts pumping again. Usually when you shut down oil production, it's, you shut it down, and because there's lots of safety things you got to put in place. And I would think it's going to take a while to restart production off of California. But the fact that it's been allowed is what the headline was. So, I'm trying to figure out, do we think stock prices are going to move? Oil prices, we know Battalion. Hey, I said it right for once. Battalion oil has been, sort of the poster child for the industry over the last few days. And it doesn't look like, this morning it's really doing much. It hasn't really reacted so far today. It's not moving that much. So it is up 1.7%, but we'll have to see if oil prices are impacted. So
I have a feeling, Peter, we'll see the volatility decrease because you know how it goes when there's sort of a new catalyst to move things in the news, and then it doesn't shake it as much anymore. Like a good example is when Trump took over as president. Both times, his tweets would shock the markets, and then we kept making jokes all the time, like, "Oh, we need a Trump tweet today. We need a Trump tweet today," to move the market and make it do something interesting. But it seemed to decrease in its impact over time, and I think we're going to see that with oil here because every day is going to be the straits open, the straits close, or whatever, So maybe we'll see a decrease in this as we go forward.
Right. Well, we'll see if that happens or not. Turning our eye to what's moving from the earnings, tradingjournal.com earnings calendar. We've got a couple things this morning. We might take a look at the Dollar Tree, although I didn't really see it moving that much earlier. Other than that, earnings are pretty light. After the close, there's not a whole lot that would be of interest. Tomorrow, we do have Oklo after the close. Oklo. Anyways, they're the ones that are making those small nuclear reactors in the lovely church-like facilities. We got Lululemon after the close. I think the big one this week is going to be Micron. Certainly Micron and a lot of the semis are moving the market. We're going to be talking about NVIDIA a little bit later because they've got news as the tech conference gets started this morning. And of course, Jensen Huang has the keynote address. Who else? Who else do you put up there as keynote? Maybe the biggest question is, what leather jacket is he going to wear today? So, but that starts, I think it's 11 o'clock Pacific, so that won't be till mid-afternoon market time. So we'll see what happens. But anyways, so Micron's reporting after the close Wednesday, and that's really about it. I don't think much of the rest of these are going to move the market. Now, in the process of looking this up, I ran across some other news that's happening, but not necessarily stock market related. John, do you follow basketball? Apparently March Madness starts this week.
Only this. This is the only kind of basketball of any kind I follow. Maybe Olympic basketball when it comes around, obviously. But there's a guy named Mark I've never met. He lives in Chicago and he runs a March Madness bracket pool. And I met him through a friend back in 2007. Got linked up with him to do his very first bracket pool. And since then, it's grown like huge. And so I have to remind him every year, like, hey, remember me? I'm that guy, John, you've never met. Can I be in your bracket pool again? He's like, oh, yeah, come on in. So like, then I spend my $25 per bracket and I make my bets. And that's me in basketball.
Okay. So you're the fair weather better. There's nothing wrong with that.
That's it. But I love it when March Madness, like I can't get enough of it. Like I watch every game I can watch and it's extremely interesting. And I guess it's because I got a little money on the line, but there's something special about the tournament. It's like the best kind of basketball. It's fun to watch.
Look, most of our sports are like that, aren't they, John? I mean, how many of us watch pole vaulting outside of the Summer Olympics? I mean, like,
True that.
or shot put.
True.
Or the Winter Olympics, which just finished. I mean, look at all those sports. I never watched a cross-country skiing biathlete except for the Winter Olympics. So unless you're in Norway, I suppose, in which case it's probably primetime TV every night. But in any event, all right. So March Madness is on. You have to admit, I don't typically watch it itself. And the other thing, I guess last night the Oscars happened. So that came out. Of course, the Hollywood likes to give itself a good old pat on the back and celebrate themselves. One battle after another. The sort of weird DiCaprio movie came out, and it won a lot of awards. It's a shame that Carlos isn't here though, because apparently K-pop. The song "Golden" became the very first K-pop song to win an Oscar for Best Original Song. So. I know he's a big fan.
Yeah.
There you go.
I did not know the Oscars were even on last night, but I woke up this morning kind of checking my phone and I saw it had all happened.
I knew that they were happening just because I was looking at the news over the weekend. I'm like, oh, the Oscars are happening. Frankly, I made zero effort to actually find it and to log in. I, watched a hockey game and then my wife and I watched a show, and I'm like, didn't even think to flip to the Oscars to see how it was going. Didn't really care. I'm curious, guys. How many of you out there actually watch the Oscars? It'd be interesting to see your comments whether you actually watch them. It's just not a thing that I care about. Anyways, I'm happy to hear the results afterwards. I don't need to see it as it's going on. So,
you know what happened this weekend, Peter?
Sorry.
Another event happened this weekend. I'm going to give a shout out that'll never get to where it's going, but my nephew Will. His high school team won the New Hampshire State Hockey Championship on Saturday. Big deal around here. So shout out to Will and the boys at Bishop Girton. And I'm sure none of them will ever hear this, but good job, boys. Well, except for the one kid day trading in first period on his phone. Maybe that kid.
Well, congratulations to them. There you go. See, so there was some excitement that happened this weekend.
That's
That's
right. I
good.
forgot about that.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's take a look at the economic calendar. We'll take, as I said, sorry, at the gappers. That's what I mean to say, the gappers list. And there are a few things gapping here to again all to the top side. Oddly, there's really nothing gapping on the downside. So we're just going to take a look through those. We'll, as we usually do, we're going to see what we like out of this list, what we can trade, and what we're going to reject. For those of you that may be new to the show, this is sort of how we go through the things that are moving. The gappers list, by the way, is one that we put together by really doing a set of, and I should actually show you the measures here, because that might be interesting. Let's see if we can get this onto the screen. I'll go. This is through tradingterminal.com. We pull up the gappers here, and let me show you. Can I bring this up here? Let's see what we can do. So we got a number of filters that we put in here where I'm really looking for any stock that has a daily volume, has to trade at least 250,000 shares, because you got to find a way to get through the market, right? And find the stuff that you want to trade and the stuff that you don't. This is our methodology, but it's not necessarily for everybody. Some people like low floats. Some people like to trade other things. We tend to like to stick to stuff that has generally good volume and is a larger stock. So I'm looking for things that have a daily volume of at least 250,000 shares, although I often want more than 5 million shares actively trading for me to personally to take a trade in it. I want the price to be over $5 because you want to get rid of those penny stocks and the small ones. I also want a daily ATR. This is the average true range. This is how far it moves on average at any given day, of at least 50 cents. That weeds out, there's some big stocks out there, but they just don't move. If they only move 20 cents a day, I mean, I'm unlikely to find a good trade in, even if there's news. So we eliminate those. It's got to have a float. This is over one share. This eliminates all the ETFs. You get a lot of these non-stocks, the ETFs, or even the fund, the SPACs, the special purpose acquisition vehicles, where they don't carry a float in some cases. So we just get rid of all those. And then I'm looking for, of course, it to move more than 2% up or down. So that tells me that it's in play today. So there you go. So that's our criteria. That's what I'm looking for. And that's how this gappers list comes into play, comes into being. So using that criteria, we get this list, which gives us the opportunity to go through what's moving and talk about them this morning. So, all right, I was going to start with NBIS at the top of the list. While I was talking, I noticed something else moved on the list, so we'll come back and take a look at that one in a second. NBIS had a big move right in the morning here at 6 a.m. You can notice it jumped up. Now, this has been on our list a couple of times over the last few weeks. As you can see, last week it was moving higher, and today it's gapping even higher. So we got a big move. John, what's causing that? Any idea? You're on mute? Your lips are moving.
Sorry. I was typing and trying to be polite. Yeah, NBIS has a deal with Meta, $27 billion agreement with a B to provide Meta with AI capacity. The deal is based on one of the first large-scale deployments of the NVIDIA Vera Rubin platform, they said in their press release. So yeah, that's big news, and that's pretty much the biggest news story this morning, I think, from our gappers. But that's a good one.
Yeah, I think it is, and so NBIS is moving. You know what? Whenever you said who was the deal with Meta?
No. With Meta, yeah.
Meta, really interesting.
Zucky boy.
Okay. Well, so there you go. NBIS. You know what? I'm not sure I'm going to put this on my primary list, but I'm definitely going to put it on a secondary list. So let's bring in our gappers list here, or sorry, our list that we're watching. We'll add that into the stream right here. Let's get this in here, and we can see our watch list. I'm going to. Oh, this should be updated. It'll update itself in a second. And we've got NBIS on the list. Now, the other thing that, since we mentioned Meta was in the news this morning where, interestingly, apparently they are considering, but haven't pulled the trigger on some pretty aggressive layoffs after their significant investment in AI. So they're sort of saying, they're not saying that AI has created efficiencies that allows them to lay people off. In this case, it's interesting to me that they're saying they've just spent so much in AI that they can't afford all their people. So they might have to lay off the people because they spent so much, which is not exactly how AI is supposed to work, is it? I think the premise is that they get so efficient that you don't need all the people. That's not what they're saying right now, which is odd for one of the companies that are promoting AI.
It's still my suspicion that a lot of these tech companies are carrying more people than they know they need, which would be surprising, I guess, considering we consider them the greedy capitalist pig companies and stuff. But when I think back to Twitter, or when it became X and getting rid of 80% of the workforce and largely carrying on mostly the same way it was, I think there's still a lot of manpower in these companies that they know they can shave that. But what do I know? I don't work at one of them.
You say that, John, but it's interesting. I go back to my my corporate life. For those that are following, you can now have you can have a drink. There used to be a drinking game every time I mentioned corporate life that people would drink in the chat room. Anyways, but yeah, like I worked for some of the largest, what I thought, well, they were successful, but most successful companies in the world. And you would think, being a capitalist company, they'd be very, and because they're leaders of their industry, that they'd be very efficient. It always blew my mind how much inefficiency existed within these companies. So, my conclusion was, soon as you get humans creating large bureaucracies, no matter what the context, right? We like to beat on government all the time, but frankly, government is just, because it's a public bureaucracy, we come face to face maybe with the inefficiencies more. But I'm telling you, private enterprise, it exists at almost as much, right? In some cases to a larger degree than you find in public institutions. So you know what? Don't be too harsh on your public servant. They're caught in a system that frankly was made by a human and is very inefficient. So John, yeah, I think you're absolutely right. There's let's face it, Google and Meta, they had these big expansions, and they are hiring people left, right, and center to do tasks that sometimes the program stops, but they keep all the people, and we'll figure out how to redeploy you, and then they sit around doing nothing for a while. I'm sure they employ baristas and stuff that they probably don't need. So, that's the type of an inefficiency is different, but it's there. So I think you're absolutely right.
I was talking to my wife about this AI stuff this weekend. So after I went on a rant about adults not eating food, I went on another rant at some point. My poor wife, as I get older, this is getting worse, and I recognize it for her. So I have to work on this because I just go off about taxes and things. But I can feel myself missing the AI wave, Peter, and I don't have a lot of use for it. Like, particularly, I can't think of what I need it for. But I can tell this is the time to understand it, and to probably dip my toe into, for some reason, to use Claude for something, just so I'm not, like 3 years from now, I'll be done. I'll be toast. Like, I will not get what's going on. And it's my last chance to like get on the bus, sort of, and even in the worst seat on the bus, and try to go along with this.
My opinion is if AI is supposed to be working the way they promise it would be, we shouldn't have to understand how to use it. We literally should just be able to ask a question, and it would understand, like asking a human a question, enough to give you a proper answer. But it's funny because I've had this debate with people in here, so I know I'm going to get you going again, all my friends in YouTube and out in X, because we're busy talking about this before, where they're like, oh, you're blaming AI for the fact that you don't know how to phrase your question properly. I'm like, look, if I've got to be a lawyer to understand how to properly phrase my question to get the answer I'm looking for, then that's not a conversation I want to have. So but this is probably me being the old man yelling at you to get off my lawn. So,
there's some truth there. That's a good point, Peter. That is actually a good point. Yeah, like why do I have to know the little nuances of making Claude give me the answer I want, or any of these models? Yeah,
that makes me feel better. And again, I see all of this stuff go in cycles. And this is what we're talking about, because it's the stuff you've got to be aware of in the market as to which companies are going to succeed and won't. If you think back, now, again, aging myself because I am an old grumpy man. But back in the day when the internet started, and especially internet-based applications, there was always an education process. Remember when there used to be manuals? Right, you had to read the manual to understand how to use an application. Like that was a thing; it was existed. There was training. You had to get trained to use an application. I feel like AI's in that phase. But think about where applications are now. If you were to download an application and you had to use any type of instructions to figure out how it worked, you're not going to use the application. The expectation is they're intuitive enough. You should be able to go on any shopping app, any application, and it should just work. It should tell you what you need to do and take care of a lot of the details behind the scenes so you can just buy things without any complication. There's a standardization that sort of came about organically to a large degree so that we could figure out how to use things. But that's the expectation now. To me, that's where AI engines have to go, right? Where they get to the point where I could say, hey, why is the sky blue? And it's going to give me an answer. It understands what I'm asking, and it might even be smart enough to say, "Why are you asking that question?" So it can give me an answer that that are a little smarter. But yeah, I do feel, this is my personal view, that they've got to get just a little bit smarter for me to use them. Because like John, like you, I imagine I've gone and tried to use these tools several times, and sometimes you get answers, and like especially when they're stock related. Like I've asked stock related questions that I've gone, I'm like, I don't think that's true. And then you go challenge it, and it's like, oh yeah, you're right. You're right. I got that answer wrong. I'm like, well, you're the computer, damn it. Be smarter. Anyways.
Well, I feel better now, Peter. I am going to wait for AI to come to me.
There you go. All right. We got all into that because we're talking about Meta, which says that they're contemplating laying off 20%. Now, I don't know if that news is going to move Meta higher or lower because the market tends to like layoff news because it means that they're saving costs. But again, the reason behind this, I think, is not quite what the market necessarily wants to see. So we'll see. Right now, Meta is gapping up 2.8%, so it is a little bit higher this morning, I think it's worth watching. So it's already on my list. It's something that I am definitely going to be keeping an eye on. All right, back to our gappers list here. We only got through one so far. Look at this. I'm going to have to speed up production. There's a stock on here called Sing that I don't think I've ever seen before. Singulate. Singulate is the next thing on here. It's up 16.8%. Pretty low volume, though. It's only got 285,000 shares this morning, which is relatively low. You can see it gapping up above its price, and I have to go back here to see if this is an all-time high. It's not even close to an all-time high. This looks like a stock that has been beaten the heck down. Wow. So clearly this thing has had some reverse splits because it says that when it opened back in 2021, when it started trading, it was an $1,200 stock. So it must have had some reverse splits. But here we are, $10 this morning. John, what's happening with Singulate?
Singulate, I got some news on it here. I'm trying to figure out what kind of company it is before I read the news. So this is a clinical stage biopharmaceutical company, focuses on the development of product candidates for the treatment of attention deficit / hyperactivity disorder, ADHD. And what I'm seeing here is it's rising after the U.S. Patent Office cleared filings for ADHD drug. What does that mean? We can't say ADHD on the first try, twice. Anyway, the drug is called CTX-1301. That sounds good. Yeah, so their drugs moving forward. Good news for them.
Okay.
Interesting.
Right,
so I wonder what it does. Because what's the typical ADHD drug? It's usually Adderall, right? That's the go-to these days.
I think so. I don't know. I usually turn to my wife as soon as anything medical, and I say, "Tell me the answer," because she knows this stuff. She seems to enjoy understanding the medical things, and I'm like, I don't care. Of course, I'm a guy that I won't even take aspirin when I have a headache.
I think that's the one
because I don't take anything.
Yeah, Adderall. The kids love Adderall. They eat it like candy.
Okay. All right. Not that we're advocating that, people. That was not advice. That was not a recommendation.
We don't have to advocate it, Peter. Half this chat room is on Adderall right now. I know you people.
Okay. All right. Well, there you go. All right. The next stock on our gappers list is BMNR. This is Bitmine. We've certainly seen it on and off over the last, I would say, couple of years, in fact, as Bitmine has been one of the poster children for crypto prices, specifically Bitcoin prices. Let's take a look and see what Bitcoin prices are doing this morning. Hey, they're up. $73,892 for a Bitcoin right at the moment. And if you recall, it was sitting around 71,000 for a Bitcoin on Friday. And it looks like over the weekend, we moved up a little bit to spike as high as 70, almost 74, 73.9. So we're pretty much right back there now. So, John, anything else happening with BMNR? Or is it just Bitcoin that's pushing it?
It's just crypto is up. It's looking better. And so it doesn't take much of a move in the crypto price these days to get some good movement out of Mara, Riot, BMNR, Coin, whatever, Wolf,
Yeah.
CLSK, IREN. Yeah, so it's
You
kind of
know,
the opposite of what we were saying before. We were talking about the diminishing effect of news before, like an oil, the volatility is probably going to stop being as wild as it is, and Trump tweets are not quite as wild as they once were. But crypto's working the opposite way, where like now you get $2,000 gain on the price, and that's a lot. Obviously that didn't move the needle as much when it was $105,000. So yeah, it's the crypto people are hopeful, and yeah, it's coming back up.
well, okay. So I don't usually put this on my list to trade, so I'm unlikely to take a look at it today. If you guys like it, by all means. I mean, the volume's good, 2.8 million shares. So, there's definitely some opportunity. In fact, I may actually, just because we need to set some levels here. I keep forgetting I need to do that. Even if I'm not going to trade it, I'll put it on here so we can maybe look at some levels later if it comes into play, if it stays active towards the open. All right, next one on the gappers list here was SOC, which is Stable Offshore Corp. I maybe this is related to the news we were talking about earlier, with the offshore drilling off the coast of California being re-enabled. Volume 600,000 shares. It's up 7%. It's like just barely making the list. I don't know that I've ever seen this on the list before. It seems like a new one. Um,
This
John, what?
this is related to the California oil news. So
Okay.
this is SOC. The company resumed the transportation of hydrocarbons, oil produced at the Santa Ynez unit. So I actually looked it up while you were talking, and
Hmm.
these platforms off California I think they've gone immediately back to production. So my guess is
Wow.
the company's probably kept these things in a state of readiness. I mean, that would be a good, depending on the cost, that might be a prudent thing to do, uh, just to keep the pressure on the pipe and get them ready to go at any time. So I think it's flowing through these
Wow.
through some of these platforms.
Well, then I'm surprised. I guess my earlier statement was incorrect that they can turn them on right away. I suppose you're right. If they kept them in a state of readiness, then so be it. But that's a long time. If they were shut in 2015, imagine sitting on an oil rig for 10 years. You're just waiting for the go signal.
It's an interesting game, Peter. We've all learned so much about oil since Venezuela happened, and now the Iran thing, and all these things are very oil related. And so, the joke is whenever there's a new news story, everyone on the internet becomes an expert in that thing immediately. And so,
Right.
I tried to become an oil expert when Venezuela happened, and it was interesting to learn. They got the big, thick crude down there, and Texas has the very light stuff, and Canada's got their own kind of oil. It's always fascinating to learn, but it's the kind of thing I'll brain dump after a couple days, and I'll have to relearn next time I'm interested in it. So yeah, there's some aspects of the industry there that are very hard to turn around, especially what kind of oil you're refining. That's not so quickly remedied, but maybe your sources in some cases can be turned on and off quicker than we thought.
Right. Perhaps that's the case. And it seems like in the case of SOC, That's what's happening, and they're able to take advantage of this. So this might be in play today. Again, the volume's a little low. Also, this trades on the New York Stock Exchange, which tells me that you got to wait for that volume to kick in. It doesn't always happen immediately at the open. So be patient if this is one that you're going to try and target. All right, let's go back to our gappers and see what else is on there. We got a few things that are on. And again, this list is going to keep updating. Poet is the next one. Poet Technologies, I have to admit. Another ticker that I'm not familiar with. It is up 6.7%, 580,000 shares. So again, it makes my cut, but not aggressively enough that I'm super interested. John, any news on Poet?
Yeah, Poet is so they're a leader in the design and implementation of highly integrated optical engines and light sources for AI networks. And they announced a collaboration with Lition Technology, one of the world's leading providers of optoelectronic semiconductor components. I don't know what any of this means, but it sounds pretty cool. Obviously, two photon related companies getting together to do great things with light and AI and networks and computing.
Okay, it's a technological smorgasbord. They're smashing light together and making music, or lovely things. Anyways. All right. Okay. I don't like it. It just doesn't look like it's active enough. If you look at the daily, it's also sort of been in a range. It doesn't feel like this is going to be energetic enough to move out of the range. And if you look at sort of the pre-market action, it's pretty spotty. So this would have to pick up its volume significantly for me to want to jump into it. The next one on our list, it looks like we're back to oil and gas, SBSW, which, if I remember, Sibanye Stillwater, another oil and gas company. I think we're back to our offshore drilling news. Is that right, John?
That one I wasn't tracking. Let me see.
Okay.
I don't see anything specific for them, and I'm not even sure what kind of company it is. What is it? SBSW. Yeah. Terrible ticker name.
Sibanye Stillwater. It is an oil and gas drilling company.
I got it as a precious metals mining company in South Africa.
I thought it was. Maybe I'm wrong. It's what? Oh, so it's in the mining.
Yeah, I think it's a mining company. It was a mining company. It seems like, maybe not every morning, but quite often. We never trade them though, do we, Peter? Does anyone ever trade these mining companies?
Yeah. See, there's always a challenge with them, isn't it? At least I find them challenging because they just never seem to get that continued volume. Even when precious metals and rare earth metals were active, they were a little tough to trade. Yeah, we should have asked the AI. That's right. There you go. What a griefing Twinkie. I love the name, by the way, on YouTube. Anyway, so yeah, and the mining companies are always tough. They're tough trades. So the tech, they just don't seem to trade with the same volume as the tech stuff, and so that's why we keep going back to it. If I look at the gap up list, scanning down the rest of it, I mean, there's a lot of stuff on here, but frankly, it's all around a couple of key themes. We've already talked about oil and gas. There's some of those. Crypto, generally being a little buoyant this morning and up higher. We see a few of those. Mara, Wolf, Riot, right there on the list. Even CRCL, the Circle of Internet. We're also seeing some of the tech stocks. Micron, we talked about. Intel, I see there on the gappers list here. That might give us an opportunity actually to talk about the sector. And the big news in the sector this morning, of course, is that the GTC 2026, this is the big tech conference, is kicking off, and there's a keynote speaker, which is at 11 a.m. Pacific time, which is Jensen Huang, the CEO of NVIDIA, is going to be speaking. So that's, I think, important, right? As much as our economic calendar didn't have a lot of stuff on it, it's worth paying attention to this because that could absolutely have movement of the semiconductor sector. So that'll be 2 o'clock market time, right? It's mid-afternoon. And paying attention to that, I think, could be important. Now, just because he hits the stage at that time, it might take a little bit before he gets into the meat of his keynote. It's expected to be pretty bullish. They're announcing a new product line, a new chipset that's their next generation of chips. I mean, look, every time he gets on stage, there's a new next generation of chips and that's how they keep everybody interested, right? They've always got to have something that's slightly bigger, better, faster, stronger. So it's sort of a never-ending process, especially when you're talking about microelectronics. And he's expected to unveil that today with a very bullish presentation about the industry. Again, that's the expectation. Now, he could get up and say something totally different. Remember last time he was at one, well, not last time, but about a year ago when he's at one of these big conferences, he talked about why am I losing the thread here? He talked about quantum and said, a couple of comments in quantum, which spurred that whole industry to start moving. A whole bunch of stocks moved as a result of it. So that is the most impactful thing we're aware of on the market today is him hitting the stage again. It's at 11 o'clock Pacific time, 2 o'clock market time. So be aware that that's, I think, the event that's likely to move the market this afternoon. So far this morning, if we take a look at NVIDIA, it's doing its normal stuff. It's got about 2.8 million shares. It's up 1.7%. So, that's good, on the good side of average. How about that? So it's moving. It's not moving hugely, but it's moving in a way that's good enough for us to be interested somewhat. So while we were talking, by the way, a few minutes ago, I did notice that the New York State manufacturing data did come out, and it actually came out a lot weaker than expected. Came out with some contraction, a 0.2% contraction versus an expected 4-point growth. So it's not percent, sorry, 0.2. It's sort of an absolute level. I'm not sure how they measure this, but it's expected to grow by 4.0, and it shrunk by 0.2. So as you can see, if we look at the market overall, the market didn't really care that much and has just continued to do its thing. So that news not hugely impactful on the economic calendar. So all right, so all that being said, I do like the semiconductor. Remember, we mentioned that Micron has earnings after the close on Wednesday, so that might keep it moving. We've got NVIDIA, of course, with Jensen Huang hitting the stage for this keynote address. So I think that's going to keep the sector moving, whether you like Micron or NVIDIA or AMD or Broadcom or whatever. They're all there. SanDisk, SMCI, they're all moving this morning. Pick the ones you like the best. I'm going to stick with NVIDIA. I think it's probably the best mover. John, anything that you've got gapping higher that you think we should talk about that we haven't covered yet? Oh, I know one that you want to talk about.
What's that?
Tesla. Don't you always want to talk about Tesla?
Oh, jeez, I don't want to put everyone through the torture. I mean, that would, yeah, I could go on forever. I just hit 96% self-driving statistic for this weekend for my car. So
Wow.
that was good. It's hard to gain a percentage. Yeah, so it's roughly like 4,100 out of the last 4,300 miles or something. It's very hard to gain a percentage because you're trying to close this ever, like it gets harder to get the next percent, So it's always exciting when it tips over. So that's my test.
I have to admit, this weekend I was driving and I was doing some highway driving, and I was on the highway at one point, and I was thinking, maybe you're right, John, that I need to look into the Tesla self-driving, because I just was driving my wife's Kia, which has it. There's no self-driving. It just has lane assist, right? But even the lane assist, at some point, I was driving it and I'm like, I'm literally driving down the center line. Like the dotted line on the divided highway? Like my wheels were on top of the line. I'm like, what is happening? What is with the alignment of this thing that it's off? Like if somebody tried to pass me, they'd actually have to swerve out of their lane, or if I was going into oncoming traffic, when I got onto like the single lane road, I was like, I'm driving over the line. The computer is making me I was really not happy with that. So I'm thinking that
I would say, Peter, I'm shocked how much I like it. I'm shocked how much I love using it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I sound like every guy who says I do love the drive and I like to operate my car, and I do. But I am just like every time I get in it, I'm like, why am I doing this? Like it's a button. I can just sit back and chill. So anyway, that's my Tesla news. But I did notice Micron is moving this morning.
Mm,
Um, and how much is Tesla? Tesla's up 1.5, so there's no real news there. But Micron's up a bit this morning. They actually have news. They're building a second memory production facility in Taiwan. So
okay.
that's legit. So something to look out for there. It's up 4.1% now. As I look at my stocks, my kind of my favorites list, actually Micron and SNDK are a couple that are up the most. SNDK would move with Micron. And then coin's the other one up a lot. We already talked about why crypto's up. So those are
Mm.
the ones I've got an eye on this morning myself.
Okay. And that makes sense to me. I think they're worth watching. I mean, I generally like to trade Tesla. Tesla's also another stock that typically just it moves well every single day. So it's not trading with any impressive volume this morning at just under 800,000 shares. So it's a little bit on the low side, but it looks okay. We can potentially add that to the list. Just to keep an eye on it. Again, I'm going to be watching it anyways. I always do. So. There's nothing wrong with that. All right. Well, that means that we have the opportunity now to move to the gap down list, which is still pretty light. There's not a lot on the gap down list. One that I'm surprised to see here is we were talking about this stock earlier in Battalion Oil, and I have to very carefully pronounce that, or I get it wrong. I don't know why that word is difficult for me, but Battalion Oil, BATL, gapping down by 4% this morning on 500,000 shares. And it doesn't look like it's sort of energetic enough that I'm particularly thinking that there's any big news. Unless I'm wrong, John. Is it just giving
I
back some of that big gain?
who I it's so hard to Google, but by the time you Google what the Strait of Hormuz news is, it changes by the time you're done typing. So I don't know, but Battalion did drop uh another dollar or so in the last 10 minutes. So I noticed before it was around 2 point something percent. Now it's down 4 point something percent. So it's
Right.
picking up a little steam. It's flattened out the last 6 or 7 minutes, but yeah, it's definitely moving.
And I don't know if you guys do this type of thing, but I've been sometimes you have to educate yourself, right? And I find that let's go here. If I start at my house and then I always like zoom out, I'm like, now I can find the Strait of Hormuz on a map by navigating my way across the world and making sure that I go find it. So whereas before, that was not something that I was able to do, right? Because you weren't able to sort of get yourself there. But now I can feel like I can actually find it out. But 'cause I'm of course very curious with my impending trip
Oh,
to
here's a test, Peter.
Egypt. Is that?
Can you find Karg Island real quick? That's very important for Iran.
Oh, I
Let's see if you
what
can
is?
locate it.
I
Karg
have no.
Island has 90% of their oil passes through there.
Oh, I don't know where that is.
I
Is
think
it? It's
I think it's up near the top.
of the strait?
Well, actually, I don't know. That was always my assumption it was. Maybe
Uh,
yeah. Do you see that island up there near the top of the
this
strait?
one here?
Zoom out a bit. Nope. Go. I'm not the strait. The Gulf.
Oh,
Go up to around the northern part of the Gulf toward the
uh,
Iranian coast. No.
okay.
Zoom out. Northern part of
Oh,
the entire Gulf of Persia. But nope, you're going the wrong way. You're going to the Arabian Sea. The Persian Gulf.
oh, Persian Gulf over here. All right, sorry. Yeah.
No, the Persian Gulf it extends up toward Iraq, up toward Kuwait. Go to Kuwait.
Well, this is the Persian Gulf right here. Anyways, all right, we're getting
Yeah,
lost
yeah.
here.
Go to
But
the
anyways,
northern part of the Persian. There's an island right there, right at the tip,
this
right
one?
off of.
This is the one you want?
Yes.
Okay.
Go.
This
Forget it. There. Now go.
this
Now
one.
go right. Now
Kark?
go right. No, no,
This
no. That's
one?
too close to Kuwait. Go right. Go to the other side of the Gulf, to
All
the
right.
eastern side of
Never
the
mind.
Gulf.
We've heard it.
All right.
Can't
There
find
it
it.
is. Is that it?
Uh,
Right there.
I
Right
thought
there.
so. I think
I
it's
think that's
because
it.
you're on a delay that I'm zooming like you. Anyways, we're
Oh,
looking at a
yeah, yeah,
delay,
yeah,
so
yeah, yeah.
that's
Sorry.
why I'm going in a different place. Anyways, all right. That's part of the problem. All right. Well, anyways, that was fun. So
Andrew's listening right now, going like, where do I get real people to do my
yeah,
morning show?
exactly. What just happened? Ruining everything. All right. Well, anyway, so Battalion Oil is moving down this morning by about 4%. As far as we know, the Strait is still closed, although I guess they're working to get that open. Yeah, I think I had it there, but again, with the delay, I was there earlier, but every time he told me to move, I'd already moved. So because it was, anyways, that's my bad. Okay, the only other one that keeps popping on and off the list here that I was noticing is this company called MOS, or that's the ticker, Mosaic Companies, Mosaic Company. The Mosaic Company. I've never heard of this. I don't think we've ever traded it. It's right around the 2% mark, which is why it's popping on and off the list. And with 250,000 shares traded, this does not look interesting whatsoever. It looks like it was up. If I go to a daily, it looks like it was up last week, and it's just giving some of that back. So, not sure why this is on our list, John. Unless there's some really exciting news, I'm going to totally ignore that.
No. I've got an article here that says it talks about it, but oh wait, fertilizer stocks. The closure of the Strait of Hormuz has resulted in a surge in the shares of many fertilizer companies as investors
Yeah.
worry about supply. So CF Industries is up around 17% last week. The Mosaic company has gained 13, and Nutrien is up 10. So who knew? Fertilizer companies are doing better with this kind
Yeah,
of situation.
there's some oil offshoot that's fertilizer, and I always want to call it I always want to call it urethra. I know that's not it though. It's something that sounds similar, but that's not it. Whatever.
Yeah,
Urea?
I know what you're talking
Urea.
about. I can't
Is
think
that
of the
the
word.
is that the chemical? People are helping me out. Ring? Thanks.
It's related to
Anyways,
urine, though, isn't it?
I think so. I think it's like an ammonia type of,
Yeah,
chemical.
yeah.
I don't know. Anyways, yeah. But you're right. We've seen that last week that there was a couple of these stocks that hit because of the concern of the limited supply that's going to get through. So I know it's sort of interesting. 'Cause like you said, the Strait of Hormuz. There's so much news about the Strait of Hormuz these days. Oil, and now we've got the fertilizer stocks. We've got France, that was getting involved last week. That they were sending some ships and they started to negotiate to try and see if they could help. I don't know. It's sort of odd for France to jump in there in my opinion. But in any event, it's oh my goodness, like people are even helping us out here. They know the chemical compounds and formula for urea. So okay,
I
phosphorus and
just I
cyan.
just asked AI. There is a linkage between urea and oil. It's not like a direct link, but yes,
Oh,
there's some correlation there. So there you go, folks.
okay.
We're gonna leave that one to the classroom, as my professor used to say. I leave this to you to discover at your own time back in your dorm room.
All right. There you go. So I think we can also leave it as a tradable stock. It's not likely the thing that's going to give us a good trading opportunity. So I see some people who had just joined us. If you just joined, give us a thumbs up. John and I would appreciate it. Don't worry. Carlos will be back tomorrow. He's and I didn't mention it offset. He's not here today, but he's not here because he's agreed to escort his children and the class on a field trip. Remember those days? For those of you like me that are older and that have older kids, and John, your camera's all fuzzy. I don't know if seems to
Yeah,
it's got
I
to
don't know
like
why it does this.
refocus there. In any event, when you used to take your kids, there you go. That's beautiful. You just sharpened right in there. Anyways, when you take your kids on the field trip, and man, those are exhausting days. So I hope that Carlos is doing well. I find there's nothing more stressful than when you have to escort a whole bunch of kids on a trip, and you're worried about what's the crazy thing they're going to try and do next. And my son, who's a teacher, I should have got his mug. He's got a mug that somebody gave him that says, day's objectives: keep the tiny humans alive. And I'm thinking, as a teacher, that's probably good job number one. That's the first objective. So Carlos is living that right today. Keep the tiny humans alive is what he's trying to do as he escorts them on a field trip. So we'll find out tomorrow how that goes. So All right. And I also see the comments about starting early. We started 30 minutes early. The show now starts at 8 o'clock instead of 8:30. We're going to be doing that every day. So for those that are new, we started this mid last week, and it's going to be the new approach. So hopefully we're not throwing off your schedule, but it's something new that we're giving a shot here just to extend our opportunity to make sure they're recovering stocks. And then we can talk about the things that are in play and where we want to go. So with that being said, John, we should actually take a quick look here at what's happening in the variable trading community. It is a Monday now, and while Carlos is out doing his stuff with the class, he is going to be back for the evening session. And on Mondays, well, we like to welcome new people to the chat room, and it's a good opportunity. Maybe you can sort of run through what's happening in the community.
Sure. Yeah. So today is Monday, so we've got a session with Nathan talking about Market Atlas, and he'll be specifically talking about visualizing the order map in real time. Atlas is a product that you would receive as part of a subscription to Trading Terminal, and it's a beautiful visualization of the order book. So if you're familiar setup, there's a thing called the level 2, and the level 2 is all the prices for the buyers and the sellers kind of lined up. It's everybody's hopes and wishes about where they wish to buy and sell, but the level 2 jumps all over the place super fast all day long. It's very hard to train your eye to read it. So what Atlas is it's just a super easy visualization of where those orders sit. You can see an example of it on the screen there, and it really lets you know very quickly where are the big orders, up and down, above the current price and below the current price. Where do people want to get in and out of these stocks? And that can be useful information because there is the way the markets work. It's the way you trade is you're kind of crowdsourcing information. If you can do it correctly, you're trying to do what most people are doing, and you're trying to take advantage of the move created from the majority. And if you know what most people kind of want, sometimes those things tend to become self-fulfilling prophecies in a way. So that's why you want to know where those big orders are at, and Atlas can help you do that. So that's what that's all about. That's Nathan at noon. And then we have Smart Money Trades with Gary. That's at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So Gary will talk about kind of the stocks he's looking at, where he thinks they can move, and some of the plays he's thinking about. And then tonight we have new members onboarding with Carlos, who will be frazzled back from the field trip, but he will somehow. That's a thing I never did, Peter. My wife volunteered for many of those. I never did. No way. I know better. But yeah, Carlos will be doing that at 8 o'clock tonight. So if you're a new member to Variable Traders, or honestly, even if you want kind of a refresher about why you're here and what we're trying to accomplish, it's not a bad idea to go back to an onboarding class and have Carlos take you through the basics of what Variable Traders provides and what Trading Terminal provides and what you're trying to accomplish as a new trader. That's our Monday.
There you go. If you want to join us here in the chat room, we have a number of plans here. I got to get this on the screen properly, but we got a discount right now on the Elite Annual. It's on sale right now using our St. Paddy's Day. Oh my God, is it? Yeah, it's this week, isn't it? St. Paddy's Day is tomorrow. Oh my goodness, look at that. Anyways, we got the St. Paddy's Day deal. You can get 50% off the Elite Annual, so consider joining with that. The other thing you might want to consider, if you go to variabletraders.com and you click on where it says funded at the top there, that little red box, you can see we have the opportunity for you to have a funded account through Trading Terminal. You trade in a simulator, but Andrew will actually pay you up to $10,000 based on your profitability over the course of using that Terminator. Whoa. Is that Freudian? Simulator is what I meant. Don't use the Terminator. Anyways, but there's a set of rules. It's really just to make sure people aren't gaming the system. We really just want you to trade and learn how to trade and trade consistently. We have a couple people that are for the second time using this because they got a payout the first time. And even right on the website, you can see those that got a payout. You can see that we've got a number of traders that well exceeded the $10,000 goal are going to get a check for having taken this. And so the process actually is going to make them money. We have a number of other traders that have received payouts, and it's great. That's what we want to see. We want to see people who are successful and able to sort of make money over the process. So not everybody gets the maximum, as you can see. Some people get payouts, profits. Others, are sort of at whatever their profitability level is. But it's a great way to learn to trade using someone else's money. Basically, you get to use Andrew's money, which is a great opportunity. So consider that if you're interested in getting started with a funded account. Okay. That's that. And guys, we're getting here closer to the market open, as we've got about 28 minutes here until this market opens. And sort of hoping this morning that we get a guest visit from Andrew. Sometimes he drops by. And let's see if he's here. Get him in here. But I don't think he's here with us yet. But at some point, he may join
I hear
us.
him, Peter. Do you not hear him?
I can't hear him. You can hear him? Probably because he's in
Yeah.
Zoom. I got to figure out how to get him into... Oh, you know why? Hold on a sec.
I like you, Andrew.
There he is. I should... Are you in as Andrew this morning, Andrew? Hello? Oh, no.
Oh, look for Daniel, Peter. He might be signed in as Daniel. That's
Oh,
his,
there you go. That's why.
alter ego.
I didn't enable him. That's why I couldn't see him. All right. There he is. Look. There he is. I knew he was alive. He's out there. Now, can we hear you, though, Andrew?
Yeah,
There he is.
no, I was watching. Yeah, I was watching the market this morning. It was pretty good. The situation is really good. Market is gapping up. Meta is strong, so it looks like a really good day to trade. But I have some good news for trading terminal people. We actually build the market atlas replay. So you guys can actually very soon go and do the replay of market atlas and see how the orders are helping you to make a decision. So I'm going to test the market atlas replay today. So it's going to be releasing soon.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah,
Okay.
is
Good news.
that's some exciting news that is coming. And today seems like a really good day. Oil is gapping down and the risk on assets are up. SPY, QS, IWM, crypto is up. Everything is up. So it's going to be a good trading day. I'm actually excited. Monday, everybody thought that the war is going to end, but it didn't. So I'm excited. What are you watching, John, today? Tesla?
Yeah. Tesla, MU for sure. S&DK probably secondary to that because that's very expensive. It's getting more expensive and the spread is really bad. But I think MU could be really good today. And what was the other one that had the meta news? NBIS. I'm a little curious about that one. That's gapped up quite a bit, but it's been up more. It's come back down a bit. So that will be another one.
NBIS? Yeah, it's 11.
Yeah, November Bravo India Sierra.
Yeah, copy that. Yeah, NBIS is also interesting. Selling off right now in the pre-market, so that is interesting. Nebius Group. This one is like an AI infrastructure company. Yeah, we traded in the past. I remember that now could be a good opening range break up toward 135, 141. That's interesting.
They've got to deal with Meta to build out Meta's AI infrastructure. So good news for them.
Meta is gapping up 3% today. So that's really good. So today seems like a good day. Usually these gap up days are good, but it could be choppy in the first, 10, 15 minutes, but eventually finds a direction, either continue going up or it does sell off. So that is something. MSTR is gapping up, so it's getting ready to break above this range that it had. So around 50 could be a level. So if MSTR crypto is at $74,000, so it's recovering some of their losses, and NVDA is gapping up. So if it stays strong, NVDA could be about 185, 187, 180, and the orders are market atlas. The orders are kind of to the downside right now. I see orders at 184, so I don't know. It might be little bit tricky to trade at the open, but we'll see. The pattern would be really nice at the open to see what's going to happen.
Okay, well let's we'll find out together, I guess, as we get closer to this open and we move in. I'm taking a look through what we've got and the stuff we've talked about, guys. I don't have any particular open setups, and that can often happen when you're sort of setting up for the market, is you don't necessarily see a setup at the open, and that's okay. That means that for me, my big setups happen later in the day, as you guys probably know by my trading. Unlike Andrew's a very active open trader, and he's very good at trading the momentum. John, you've got a different style altogether, where you like the high of day breaks. So you need things to move with some aggression, sort of set a high, and then show that it's got some some desire to sort of move higher with a little aggressive movement. So anything, I mean, it's probably early for you to start identifying your setups now, right?
I don't even really do anything in the pre-market other than look at what's gapping. The things that are gapped up more and are a bit news driven tend to break out better than other things. That's just a very simple rule of thumb. My trades tend to actually be like Andrew's, except I enter later. And what I find is Andrew gets a bigger move for sure when it works out because he enters lower. I tend to know more immediately whether or not I was right or wrong. So I don't tend to wait too long. It's just kind of like in the moment, especially in the first 15 minutes. If you don't get your answer in about 30 seconds to maybe a minute at the most, you really got to question, whether you want to stay in that trade. But yeah, I'll be looking for those. And this is my kind of morning because I'm looking down my watch list and everything's green, and that's good. Those are the better days, which kind of obvious, right? Bullishness leads to better breakouts to the top side.
Yeah, and you have had precious few of those in the last little while. It must have been a tough month. And
There's been some good ones lately. I can't remember what I got on Friday, but I had a very easy Friday. They've been there. They're always there. They're always there. And in fact, I was saying on Friday, Friday was a bearish day, right? Everything sold off, but it was the first half hour where the battle happened. So if you look at the SPY from Friday and go back, like we went up in the first 15 minutes to 20 minutes or whatever it was, and then the sell-off came in, and that's what happened in the entire year of 2022. We had like a total bear year and everything was down, but there were so many good days. Like I had a very good high day break trading year because of the first half hour behavior where the market tries to fight back and you get these very aggressive breakouts before everything goes to poop, and then you kind of get your answer for the rest of the day off, and like you might as well go exercise or something because it's so obvious that it's going to be a bad day, in the end.
Well, certainly the rest of Friday was that, I suppose, because it was just selling off and continued to leak.
Right.
But you're right. I'm looking here at a 5-minute chart on the SPY, and you can see Friday. You're right. It did pop up, the one little pop of the day, and I guess if that's what you can take advantage of, it popped up for the first 15 minutes, and then said, "Yeah, we're tired. Time to go. Time to go down."
Yeah.
So hopefully you get an opportunity. So okay, well with that, we can set some levels on some of these. We might as well take a look at where things are sitting. It's good to go through the daily charts, everybody, and just understand, where would there likely be support or resistance. And this is something that Carlos normally does, that we can go through. Let's actually start with the semis, because we've been talking about that. Let's take a look at Micron, for example, because we're in a range here. So see how it's been trading up and down in a range over the last, oh my God, like 2 months now. So, this high that it's set up here, which is at 455.50, you definitely want to be aware of that in case we get back up there. I'm going to put a level right at 455.50 so that I can keep an eye on that in case we get back there. Now, I'm not saying that it's going to, but you set these levels so that you're ready in the event that it does. Now, you can see there's a lot of these lines on my chart. There's a few things that I just mark automatically, right? And I like to use a little shorthand just so you're aware what you're looking at on my chart. So the red lines, they've got big dotted lines and small dotted lines. The large dashes, if you will, are the high of days of the previous 2 days. The small little dots are the low of day of the previous 2 days. So I can quickly identify them on my charts, and they're in red. In pink or fuchsia or whatever color you want to call that. I've got the same sort of process where I've got the dashes, which is the high of pre-market today, and the low of pre-market. So I know where those ranges are, right? They're already marked. I don't have to go through and set levels. And then what I can then concentrate on is there any other areas of support or resistance that I really want to be aware of. And it's amazing to me how these things, they often you can see that there's a reason why we mark them, right? Because they get constant support. Look at the low of the pre-market, this pink dashed line. I trust you can see it here on the chart. But if I look back on late February, the 26th and the 25th and the 24th, I mean, all these days here in February, Micron used that level as resistance to the top side. It looks like today it's using it as support on the downside. So I've got all these levels already marked that I know are good, and then I can just watch, and then we'll see what happens. Don't forget, whole dollar numbers are always areas to watch that you don't really have to mark. $5, $10, $100, right? Those are big areas that any large price stock always pays attention to, and you always got to be aware. Sometimes they just blast right through them, right? And they don't care. But a lot of times they will stop at those whole dollars. So that's why, you just be aware of them, especially if a stock is approaching, like if Micron goes higher and it starts to approach 450, you definitely want to sort of just keep an eye on that, because it's either likely to push through and go by another few dollars, or it's going to use that as topside resistance and it's going to bounce off of that and go lower. Okay, so that's what we're going to be watching for Micron, and we'll be ready. So we're going to go through the same process on pretty much everything. Looking at NVIDIA here on a daily chart, again, we're inside the range that we had traded. So that's the other terminology that we tend to use. It's called an inside day. Let me zoom right in here. What does this mean? Well, this big red candle is the candle from Friday. And notice we're starting the day, all of the trading so far pre-market has been within the bounds of that candle, within the highs and lows of Friday's trade. So that would be what's called an inside day if the trading continues to be within that range. My expectation is we're probably not going to get a huge movement, but if we do move outside of the candle, that's a good sign. Well, if it's to the top side, you might consider it a bad side. If it's to the downside, I'm a short bias trader, so I like the downside moves. But either way, that would mean an expansion of range, and that we're probably, or we have the opportunity anyways, to go make a bigger move. So right now we're trading within that range. So I don't really have to set many levels. You can see that I've got a bunch of levels set on the daily chart. 184.50, I've got a level set. I've got the highs and lows of the previous 2 days, all these dotted lines here on my chart. So I'm good to go. I've got all sorts of ranges set, no matter where NVIDIA moves. I mean, I've been watching it so long. You can see I've even marked, these are all the earnings days, by the way. These candles highlighted, that's where all the earnings were. And you can see that almost every earnings, NVIDIA goes down. But we're a little ways past that, so we don't have to worry about it. Interestingly, after the earnings, they tend to sort of make a little bit of a recovery. I think, again, remember, big news on NVIDIA. We've got that GTC 2026 conference, which is happening today with Jensen Huang's keynote speech. That's at 11 a.m. Pacific, which is 2 p.m. market time. So again, if you're trading this afternoon, I think that's going to move the stock one way or the other. Definitely people are going to react to whatever he says. And sometimes it may not be even NVIDIA. He may affect other industries, depending what he chooses to talk about. He's got power. I hope he uses it wisely. But that's NVIDIA. So let's go. We might as well take a look at the NBIS, since we were talking about that. That I won't have as many levels set because it's not one that I watch regularly. Once again, highs and lows of the previous 2 days are marked. Those are below the price action, with it moving up a little over 10% today. And you can see we had an area of resistance back here, October, November of last year. So the high of pre-market, notice, is right in this area. So I'm going to keep an eye on that. I'm going to put a level right here at the high of this candle, which is 134.93. So I definitely want to keep an eye on that. Because I think that we may get some resistance if we get back up to that level. And then I'll just mark up here, the high of this candle. I'll get ready for 140.60, just because that was the high it spiked to back in October. So if NBIS goes higher, I'm ready with those levels. And if it goes lower, I'm ready with the previous day levels. So that's good for that one. One of the other ones that we were taking a look at, we'll talk about quickly here, is MBNR, which is Bitmine. I don't love Bitmine because look how tight this range is. Look at, you can see this daily chart. It's been down and down. And yeah, it's gapping up by 8%, but it's 8% within a pretty tight space here. And, this is now a $20 stock when, 6 months ago, this was a $50 stock. And, a year ago, this thing was a $130 stock. So, certainly it's down significantly. Again, Friday's high is right here at 22.76. So I'm going to keep an eye on that. I don't think there's many other ranges in here to worry about, frankly, because we'll see what it does. It could range anywhere within here without a lot of significance. If I go back and look at the, where did it trade mostly over the last few days using a 60-minute chart, you can see, right, the highs of the previous day sort of cuts right through this price action. The low of the pre-market cuts through the top here. So, I feel like I'm already well covered with the levels that are automatically, that I have the system mark for me. The last one for levels that we'll set here on these stocks we were watching was Meta. As we mentioned, Meta is contemplating laying off 20% of their workforce to offset some of the expenditures they've made on AI. Not because of AI efficiency, but because they spent too much on AI. So I'm thinking that that's maybe a downside drag on the stock. However, it is gapping up this morning, so I'm fully prepared to be wrong. We'll see what happens. It's definitely above the range that it was trading at all day Friday, which means we're going back up into this area of consolidation, which is from about $635 up to $660, which is that range that Meta's been trading in. So I don't really know. 2 days ago, right, the high was right up here at $653.50. So we've got a big range on Meta. It's not one that I watch every day, but the range is big enough that it makes it interesting. As long as it's, turns out to be one of those days where it's deciding to move. So I'm going to zoom in on a 60-minute chart and see what we've got. Is there anything else that jumps out at me? Definitely the low of 2 days ago. You can see it's up here, which is above the current price action. So 2 days ago, we were trading higher. Friday, which means that's Thursday of last week. Friday of last week, we were trading much lower. So we really, we've got a pretty big range we can trade here, right? I would say anywhere from $610 all the way up to $660. All of that is in play for Meta today. So I'm going to put I'm just going to put a level up here near the top of it at 658.80. So it gives me some warning because I think we sort of there's definitely some shares that traded hands up at that price point. So I want to keep an eye on that, and we'll see what happens. The other thing that we've got to be aware of, and thank you to those in the chat room that are providing some information, we're still news driven and we're war news driven. So if there's news that anybody thinks is changing the direction, the intensity, or the balance of this war in Iran, then that definitely is going to have an impact on the market, and we need to be aware of it. So apparently there's a report of explosions and fires at the Dubai International Airport and in some oil areas at the UAE. So thank you for whoever posted that into the chat room. Or into the YouTube comments. Appreciate that. So it keeps us on top of the news. And that's one of the great things we have about the chat room, by the way, when I go in there and I watch, all day, there's always people doing just that, helping you identify the news. They may see things before you do. You try and keep an eye on it, but it's also good to have 1,000 other pairs of eyes watching the market for you. So we leverage that when we're live here on YouTube, and of course all day when we're in the Bear Bull Trading Community chat room. So okay, those are the levels that I want to pay attention to. I think we covered the main ones here. The only one I didn't look at for levels is Tesla, but because I've watched it so much, I've already got levels all over the place. And Tesla's actually usually pretty good about using previous day levels. If I look at the high and lows of the previous 2 days, look how they're right on these areas of support or resistance. That usually goes back a couple of weeks. So I find there's very little I need to mark. You just watch whole dollars on Tesla, right, and previous day levels, and you're probably good because it really pays attention to those quite nicely. So we'll hope to see Tesla moving higher today. If it goes lower, I was saying this the other day, it's interesting to me, Tesla's been playing around. It's been flirting with this $400 price point for, feels like forever, but definitely definitely a couple of months, since the beginning of February, right? It's been playing around with this when it was trading above it beforehand in January, and then it sort of came down into the area, and then it looked hopeful in the sort of the second week of February that it was going to move up out of it, and then nope, it just sort of leaked off, and now it's was hovering around 400 for the last couple of weeks here. So we'll see what it does. 396.73 is the current price on Tesla. Hopefully, it can start to move a little bit better for us today, and maybe get back over 400. I don't know. We'll find out together. Depends on whether this market moves higher or lower. So, and looking at the market on the Qs, we're moving higher. Like we said, almost everything's in the green, which is a good start. Good place to come from. But, you never know. Like we're sort of like John was saying, right? When we watched the open, Friday we were trending down, and then we popped up at the open, and then we dropped lower. You just never know. Like these market days, right? Just because we're gapping higher, we could sell off all day, or we could continue. So I'm not going to make any big bets as to which direction we're going to go. I'm going to wait for the market to tell me, and I'll only know that once the opening bell rings, and we'll see where that volume takes us. Keep in mind, the volume pre-market, we talk about this a lot, is so low compared to the volume you get during the market day. And just look at the chart I've got on the screen. See the big bars? This is the volume at the bottom here. There's a reason why, right? It looks like the volume pre-market is non-existent. It's because it's just so low relative to the volume that happens when the market opens. And you can see this in almost any stock. Doesn't matter what I flip to, right? Whether we're looking at NVIDIA or we're looking at Tesla or even the Micron, anything that is in play. All these bars during the market hours are going to be so high that it makes the market what am I trying to say? The volume pre-market disappear just because it's so low. It looks flat. If I zoom in, suddenly you see what looks like big bars, but always keep in mind that volume is so low that it gets dwarfed. And that's important because when the market opens, it could set a totally different direction and tone than whatever you're seeing pre-market. I'm not saying the pre-market data is irrelevant, but it's not as influential as sometimes you might think, especially if you're focusing in and watching something pre-market. So always be aware of that. Always be thinking that, which is one of the reasons why my trades usually happen a little bit later once I sort of let the market figure out what it's going to do, and then it can take my trades. Now, today, I'm hoping to jump in. It's John and I here. John, are you staying through the open? Are you able to trade live with us?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'll stick around.
Awesome. So we'll see. We'll see if John and I can get some trades and show you guys what those look like live here. And if so, then we might have something to share with you. But don't get excited. I'm I'm a pretty light open trader. I don't tend to trade all that much, so I'll do my best. But it's if nothing sets up, I'm not going to force a trade. I will try and demonstrate discipline for you guys. Stick to my rules. I mean, if it makes sense, I'll give it a shot. But if it doesn't, I will be sitting on the sidelines and just watching. So. All that being said, Andrew's gone to join all of our friends in the chat room, and he's live there in Bearable Traders and getting them set for the market open. John, again, your process normally, you've got your fixed screen, eh? I don't think you're sharing a screen with me. But yeah, I know that you've got your list of stocks that you typically trade every day. And it allows you to sort of focus in on the same things all the time, right? Without a lot of changes needed.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how to share a screen, but it's allowing me to share one chart at a time on the screen. Well, I'll take a look at that. But yeah, so I have a fixed list of stocks, and I find there's a lot of goodness in the familiarity of trading the same stuff, because stocks do have personalities. They do have a certain way they move, and it's good to be comfortable with that. Now, so those are the pros, that familiarity with how they perform every day and what they might be, what their potential is for movement and things like that. The con is that you're probably missing other things, just like NBIS. I might not really keep that in my mind. I don't know. If that makes an early move, I'll probably miss it. Unless I put it on my screen here. Maybe I could, what I'll do? I'll put NBIS where Apple is, and then I will have an eye on it this morning. But yeah, one of the cons is you're not going to you're not going to have like a huge aperture for everything, which honestly mostly requires a scanner anyway of some kind.
Mm.
Uh, but yeah, but the interesting thing, Peter, is by looking at pretty much 12 stocks every morning and trading those, um, I still find the trades I'm looking for in 95%, if not more, of my trades come from those 12 stocks. And it just kind of works for me. It's not for everybody, but it's a method.
It is a method indeed. So and that's fine. We all got our different approach to the market, and as we've all learned over time, it's because we all sort of look at the market slightly differently. We've got different perspectives and outlooks, and it just gives us a different way of seeing the market. And I'd love to see the market the way Andrew does, because he does so well with it. He makes it work every time, and I'm jealous every time. But it's not the way I see the market. So, right or
If
wrong.
you watch Brian this morning, Brian will have a Tesla trade on it. Can almost guarantee it. I think he's on day 492 of consecutive Tesla trades. So you find what you like and what you're good at trading, and it can be lucrative. So it's not a bad way to go.
Yep, that is certainly true. So, all right. So let's see what I can do here. I'm trying to fix this. All right. Anyways, we'll keep an eye on these stocks. We're getting ourselves ready for the open. We're only about 3.5 minutes away, and I will just switch over my screens here quickly. See if we can get some open trading.
Am I sharing the screen now?
Yes, it looks like you are.
Okay, there you go. Yeah, so I don't know if you can show that to YouTube, but that is
Oh no,
what it looks like. I'm actually getting it all set up with my 1 minute charts here because it's getting close to the open, and I'm going to execute my trades on a 1 minute chart.
There you go. This is what John's, and let's get rid of this at the bottom quickly for you guys. This is what John's screens look like. He looks at this mess of 1 minute charts. He's got a dozen of them on the screen so that he can track the key things he wants to watch, and gives him the opportunity to zero in on the stuff that happens to be moving. So, and from this, John, you've obviously got a trading screen, right, that you look at where you go in and you sort of zoom in on the one that.
Yeah. Yeah, there's another screen where I'll actually execute. I know this looks like a lot to people, but when you're trading something as simple as a stock going over its high of day, you train your eye very quickly to just notice what's near its high and what's not. And for the ones that are near how they approached it, it's real. If you keep your methodology very simple, it's not hard to watch a bunch of stuff. But if you have a much more like 6 or 7 criteria for what you're looking for, and it's real subtle kind of signals against certain levels or whatever, yeah, it's going to be harder to watch a bunch of stuff, and you're probably going to have to focus on less.
Makes sense. All right, so let's get do this there. Now I can share with us on it. Okay, so that's what John's watching. For me, you know what? NBIS is an interesting one because it's gapping up, but it's been moving down for the last hour here pre-market. So I'll have to see where this goes. I'm going to put it over here. I got another screen where I can track a bunch of stuff. I'll put Micron over here. Obviously, I'm always watching NVIDIA and Tesla. I don't really have a strong opinion as to where things are going to go this morning. I think that I don't know. I'm afraid that we're going to get chopped, though, because we've just seen this so many days. Here we go. There's my 1 minute alarm. We got a minute to the open. We'll keep an eye on this. And let's actually move a market clock up here. We can keep an eye on the time. There you go. And see where we go. I think I'll see. NBIS might be good for a move down because we're gapping up 10%. I don't know. I just don't know. I like it when I'm able to set up a stock and I'm like, I have a good feeling about it. I know where it's likely to go. you know, I want to take it. Like Micron is probably the best. I'd love to see a pullback on Micron down to about 443.50 and then a move higher because that would give me a good risk reward. I could try and take a long. So maybe that'll be my play at the open. Let's go. Here's the opening bell. And we're off to the races. Micron is just gonna go without pulling back, eh? You're gonna be that way, are you? Huh? Where's the market going? Looking at the Qs and the SPY, we're getting a drop here.
Now, if I'm being a good boy, I typically wait 5 minutes to take a trade. So that's what I'm going to look to do here. But we'll see if anything sets up a little early. But the first 1 or 2 minutes I find to be nonsense. I don't I know the big moves are there. I get it, but it's a real gamble as the big players sort out their 9:30 orders.
Right. Goodness.
Bit of a doji on the opening market candle. SPY or the Qs kind of went higher, went lower, closed about the same price.
You know what I haven't done with everything? I forgot to open my trading terminal Atlas. I just realized I was looking to trade Tesla, thinking maybe we can get a long through 400. Oh, that's got the Andrew indicator with it. So Andrew's also was trading that.
One thing I take a look at right when the market opens or after a couple minutes is the R-vol for the SPY or the Qs, which are both pretty normal. Like the relative volume for the SPY is 96%, the Qs are 81. They're right. It just gives you an idea of whether there's strong interest or weak interest, and I'd say there's just normal interest today.
Right. Frank Castle, yeah, you're calling me out. I didn't end up doing that today, but I have done that in the past. Absolutely. Well, maybe I should have taken Tesla. I could have jumped into a Tesla long there. I sort of chickened out on that one. NBIS is moving higher. BMNR moving higher here so far in the first couple of minutes. Oh, and is Tesla going to hit
zooming up to yesterday's high or Friday's high?
Yeah, is it going to hit the 400?
I think that 400 level was a real tough one, Peter, on Friday. They spent a lot of time messing with that.
Oh, it's too bad. It's too bad I didn't jump in with some shares. I could have. I opened YouTube, by the way. John is clear. I'm getting the cutouts on his audio on my side, but I'm not sure if it's just me or if it's also happening on YouTube. It doesn't happen all the time, just occasionally. I'm worried that my computer is not dealing well with its processing compute requirements. Same here. Okay, so it is happening. Yeah, it's probably my. Oh, it's probably my fault. I think it's the rendering and then the publishing out to the streaming services that's causing the problem. So my apologies. Someday apparently I've got to get a new computer. This is a problem, right? My computer is more than adequate for trading. It's like you don't actually need a supercomputer to trade. You can actually use one that's fairly modest in its compute capacity. But to stream, boy, do you ever need capacity? You need lots of RAM. You need lots of GPU memory. It's got to be super powered. Well, NBS is.
So I did take a long. I took a long on an NVIDIA for the high day break. I'm just going to throw my stop at break even already. So my entry is 184.04 and it's at 184.35 or something, which is enough of a move to like just say, let's lock in a risk-free trade. And then if it goes, it goes. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I'm not going to cry over spilled milk if it comes back down. But it was a good momentum shift there in the volume. Good break over the pre-market high/high a day. So we'll see if we can get trying to get $1 out of this, which is a lot to ask without it coming back to retest where I got in, but it's possible. You never know.
Which stock is this?
NVIDIA.
Oh, NVIDIA. Okay.
It's a small GPU company out of California.
I think I've heard of them.
they're up and coming.
So someday they might make a name for themselves. Let's hope they do well.
Maybe.
All right. So yeah, you actually got some good momentum. You guys can see it on John's chart. He's got his trade there. It's there's a lot of stuff going on, but sort of bottom second from the right. Let's a bigger view of NVIDIA, although I don't have his trade on it. So he's in, and he's hoping that he's going to get a move higher. So there you go. John's got the early trade. See if it can work out for him.
The $0.50 level's been a bit of a tripping up point here, and it often is. It's like you get in on a dollar level, and it's a stock of this price. The stocks are over $100. They tend to go often to the next 50-cent level, and then they do a bit of a dance there and decide whether they want to continue that to the next dollar or come back and retest or go back down lower. Kind of feel like that's what it's doing. Really hard to read stuff this early, though. Who knows?
Okay, well, we're getting we're getting a little bit of pullback. Some initial stuff moved higher and it pulled back. NVIDIA, on the other hand, it's now pushed up. Let's see if we can get through that 185, John, that you're looking for. Looking good.
And I'm going to sell it right there. A little short, but there's a daily level. It's the high from 2 days ago, and this early I tend to usually suffer the pullback after the initial victory. So I'm going to take that.
Good. All right. Nicely done. Now, do you get all out, or do you just take a partial there?
I just got all out.
Okay.
Usually my first trade, Peter, if it's working out, I'll just take the money.
Okay.
And build a little confidence, have a little buffer for my next giant mistake, that kind of thing. Which is coming.
That's the spirit.
Be aware of your shortcomings.
Yeah, as people were saying, that there's a risk here that we're going to get into a choppy market. A lot of stuff is choppy. NVIDIA is actually probably one of the better movers here this morning. Tesla did get up through 400 just barely a second ago, and then pulled back from it. So it's up there, but it seems to have already slowed down. I know that Andrew in the chat room is in pretty heavy on Tesla. It looks like he's taken some partials. He's got an order up at $425, I think. So looks like he's waiting for that move to happen. John, looks like you made the right call. Getting out at 185 is once again, like you predicted, you get the bounce off the whole dollar back to the $0.50, 184.50.
Yeah, the best thing that can happen for my confidence is it comes back below 184, and then I know I made a great decision. But
right,
we'll see if it catches itself here.
Right.
I'm setting an alert on. I'm going to put an alert on NBIS just at 129.63, which may go off here in a second. I just want to be aware if that goes back for 130. Honestly, that alert's 40 cents away, and by the time it goes off, it may have broken 130 already. Just because this is moving so fast. This is the kind of stock now you got to consider, like, okay, NBIS is $130, NVIDIA is 184, 185, whatever. You think you buy more of NBIS because it's cheaper. That would be a mistake this morning, because the way this thing is moving, like, you got to think of how badly you can get punched in the face and start your trade idea from that point of view. And that's what I do. Like, so I think, like, oh yeah, I can afford this many shares of NBIS, but I cannot afford to have it drop $1.50 on me in a heartbeat, which it can do right now.
Mm. Yeah, that's a good point. And the spread is 20 to 30 cents, it looks like here. So, it's not as tight as some other things.
Yeah,
If I
not
watch
great.
NVIDIA, like NVIDIA's got a spread of, 1 to 5 cents maximum. So, while the price arguably is it's cheaper, it's definitely got a lot bigger risk built into it on NBIS. So, I imagine your alert, did
It's a
your
lot
alert
of
just go
shares
off?
building up at one.
Yeah, it must
I
have.
closed it because if it
Right.
goes off, it makes my montage inactive. So because I'm staring at it right now, I was thinking I don't really need an alert because I'm watching it very closely here. So I just deleted it so
Okay.
it doesn't lock up my montage.
Well, it would have gone off a second ago, but because it got up to 129.75, but no higher.
Yeah. You might want to pull up an atlas maybe on this, Peter. I think if people want to see
Hmm.
what atlas shows you, there should be a big order at 130 on atlas.
Okay, let's do that. Let's look at
And just,
NBIS.
just if you're if
So here's a trading terminal looks like. As you can see, you can zoom in or out. But yeah, John's right, right? The biggest order on the entire screen is here. You can see the big red bar at 130 with 42,600, 42,900 now shares sitting there, right? So you can see the orders are building. Now we're at 43,000. So that's a good sign. That means that people are saying we anticipate or trying to encourage the price to go that high. And even when I zoom in, you can tell there's not a lot of orders to the downside, which means that it's more likely to go higher than lower. But there's never a certainty, right? This is just one indicator. It just means that there's orders sitting there, and you also have to watch the level of the orders. Notice, as you zoom out, it amalgamates by the way orders. So as I zoom in here, right, you can see 31,000 sitting right at that level, 6,600 sitting at 29.90. So, you want to see sort of stacked orders where, not only there's just a big order at the whole dollar, because that could just sit there forever. What you want to see are orders that lead you up to the whole dollar. So we got a little bit of that here, but it's still a little uncertain as to where it wants to go. But you can look at the Atlas on Tesla. You can see Tesla ends up with a lot more volume all over the place, right? So in some instances, that can make it easier to read. Sometimes it doesn't tell you anything because if you get big orders everywhere, well, then it's hard to know. But there's NBIS for you.
I'm setting alerts on NVIDIA and Tesla now as well. They look pretty good for potential. If they get up to those highs, those are good levels to try to break. Well, Tesla's a little dangerous being Friday's high. That level can be a bit of a bear, but it's an interesting level with the 400 resistance once again.
Right.
And yeah, now I'm actually going to reset that alert on NBIS, but just put it a bit lower, 129.36.
Mm.
So an interesting thing about those big walls of orders, like the 130 on NBIS, the typical thinking is it's a big wall and it'll be hard to get the price through and it's going to be a big rejection level, so don't trade there. That's definitely possibly true. Like that's one of the two outcomes. The other outcome is if it breaks, what happens is the book's much thinner above 130. So a ton of orders at 130, not a lot of orders at 130, 01, 02, 03, 04. So as the greed comes in to break 130, if it happens in a greedy manner, then the price tends to get eaten up very quickly above 130 where the book is thin. So the way you want to play that is you want to recognize the greed going into 130, the more likely chance that it's going to break. And it's as simple as the speed at which the price moves into that level and the volume backing it is a pretty good indicator of whether or not there's a very greedy move up to 130 or sort of a hesitant move. So if you can recognize where people are getting bullish and then take the break, you can often get the pop. But I'll tell you, this one's going to be interesting this morning because this could definitely reject very hard off 130. I'm kind of curious to see what it does here.
Excellent. And we talk a lot about that, the greed factor, right? Greed and fear, right? They're the two emotions that generally drive the market. So we'll have to watch and see what happens.
Here it
With
comes.
NBIS. Yeah,
I'm
NBIS.
going to try it. I got in.
There it goes, 130. Just hit it.
Oh, shoot. And it's not popping. So That's not good for me. And gonna give it a second here. This is very uncomfortable. Bad decision. I got out right when it started the move there. Tough game. I was in that only for 18 seconds, and I'll tell you that was a long 18 seconds. The volatility here, so that's how it goes. Maybe I made the wrong choice, but this is a tough game. You cannot be the sucker holding on too long. There it goes. There it goes.
Oh, you had it.
I had it. Yeah,
you had it. Oh well.
Well,
look,
I'm telling you, no regret. I'm telling you, I've only done this for 6 years of the same idea, Peter. And I've made the wrong decision so many times. My brain thinks back to the time where, you know what, John, it was the right decision because you almost took a $2 butt kicking, the opposite direction. So,
right.
Kind of proud of myself here. I had the right idea. Just needed about 8 more seconds of bravery.
Yeah, that can be tough. I know that firsthand. It's tough in these trades. All right. Well, the market. Look at the market. Oh my goodness, we're getting
That's a nice pop. Yeah.
Big pop here. The Q's popping higher. It's taking almost everything with it. Once again, though, even Tesla popped, but look, it's still really struggling with that $400 level. It really doesn't want to get through that. So once it does, though, it could be off to the races because we've seen this before where it resists so much until it doesn't, right? And then all the people that were sort of holding the price there give up, and then the buyers can step in and pull this thing higher. But it's got to get through that level first. So it hasn't done it yet. I mean, it's poked its head through it, but was not able to stay there for more than a couple of seconds. And John, as quick as they go up, they come back down. Look at NBIS now, right back into this area. So
I know, yeah.
Wow.
And I didn't have many shares, so I would have held for probably that pre-market high, Peter. So I probably would have got out of that trade at break even anyway. So we'll call that. We'll say that's what would have happened. One of the things about trading the same thing every day, day in and day out, is you kind of do know how things would have played out if you had stayed in something. So it's interesting.
Right. Yeah. Well, it's good to know that, and it's good to know yourself and how you trade, how you see the market. So in my case, again, the only trade that I had contemplated this morning was a long on Tesla, and I chickened out of it. It was right here at the pre-market high that I was looking at a long, and if I'd got in, I would have happily been green and didn't have to look back. But on YouTube, you were mocking me for my getting into a trade 4 seconds in, and I didn't. No, I'm kidding. It wasn't that. There was no cause and effect in that whatsoever. No cause and effect. I just didn't take it. So no trades for me so far. Just watching the open, waiting for an opportunity.
MU's at its high of day. That is a stock I said that I'd be watching. I'm not particularly interested in the manner in which it just got here. So I'm not touching that for the moment. I'm intrigued by Tesla, Peter. This is really a tension building up here. Looks like a great place to lose some money for me.
Tesla is definitely got a lot of tension at this 400 we've been talking about. So again, the pop could be good if it manages to do so. John, maybe it won't pop till you manage to get over that 96% self-driving number.
It's true. I'm at 96, but it's technically like 95.6 or something. It rounds up, which is nice and makes you feel better.
But you're right. Like, it's extremely difficult to get the last 10% usually is really hard because the more miles you put on the car, the more miles you have to put on the car to get and maintain the percentage, right? Because, it's an ever-growing, denominator against which you're competing. So
yeah, it's very easy to lose it, though. So, like, I was driving somewhere recently. I was down in Massachusetts where the roads are just atrocious. It looks like Operation Epic Fury hit that place every day. And I was I will be honest, the full self-driving is not great at avoiding potholes yet. They have to be really obvious, I think, and it's just it drives me nuts that it drives through them. So I turned it off to self-navigate, and I was like, oh man, this is eating into my percentage.
Also, a dangerous way to think that you're just going to leave it in self-driving, just to achieve the number, despite the fact that you're heading right towards a brick wall or an elderly pedestrian or something.
The key is to turn it off right before you hit the wall to maintain the highest numbers.
All right, so Tesla still stuck in a range here, not going anywhere. NBIS, wow, what a hard pullback from that high. Look at that. So, John, you can feel a lot of confidence here that you didn't miss that much because it pulled back hard, well
Yeah.
below any entry. So,
I like MU's pullback now. I'm going to set an alert on MU. Came up short, just short of 455, and it barely broke its high of day. I hardly count that as a real break. So I'm going to set an alert at around 454, and just to let me know if MU is coming up back to 455.
okay.
So we got that done. So I think I've got alerts on NVIDIA, Tesla, MU. There's no reason I can't set alerts on everything at this point. I mean, they're free. In fact, I'll go ahead and go do that. I'll do dirty, quick alerts, Microsoft, AMD, new one on NBIS, Amazon, Coin, PLTR, Meta. Google, I can't really squeeze one in there. It's kind of flubbing around there. It's high. Google does not look good today, though.
I know you're just kidding, Frank. Yeah, and Peter DC, I apologize. Pete DC, I apologize. It's not the internet connection. It's actually it's my CPU maxing out on my computer. I got lots of internet bandwidth. Yeah, sorry about that. There's not much I can do about that. I'm trying to shut things down here at this end. Got to lighten the load on my computer. Now that we're done, I can shut down all of the news and information, so maybe I'll do that as much as possible. You guys will have to let me know what news is happening out there in the world. Okay.
Peter, I'm cleaning out my mom's house because she's moving to a retirement home, and I found some stuff this weekend. I found this great Polaroid camera. Check this thing out.
Brian, I'm not sure what year you're living in, Brian T01, but if you think Andrew can shell out $120 so I can get a new CPU, you're a little misguided on the cost of a CPU. Anyways, sorry, what's the thing?
Oh, I got this old Polaroid camera from like
Oh,
the late
yeah.
late
Look at
80s,
that.
early 90s. I bought some film on Amazon. It came the next day and took a picture. It
Wow.
still works.
That thing looks brand new.
It's nice, right? Yeah, it's been on my dad's desk for decades. It looks great.
Wow. Look at that. That's like retro chic right there.
I also found a Canon AE1 camera, like a camera they snap a lens on and all that. I forget what they're called. But pretty nice vintage camera from 1979. It's good
Wow.
vintage. I looked it up online.
Okay. There you go. Make some money off of that.
And the film, how much was the film? It was $15 for 8 shots. So yes, it's not cost effective. Better to use your phone, folks.
Mm. Better to use your phone. Well, yeah, it's going to be cheaper by phone. Yeah, I was looking up the cost of a new computer before. Again, I only need the computer when I'm streaming, which only happens when I'm sitting in for Carlos, which is very rare. So, you got to measure the investment cost. But it's not cheap. Oh my God. Like, I mean, it's, CPUs and GPUs, they've all gone up in price. Memory chips, we all know they've increased a lot over the last little while. But yeah, if you want to get a new computer, it's, for what we need here, like to get anything better than what I already have, it's $8,000. Like that's a lot of money, especially when for everything I do personally it works fine. But I apologize to everybody online right now. I've shut down as much as I can here. We're running a bare bones layout, so
I'll send you a link here, Peter, on Telegram for the computer company I used way back when for this my current computer, which is 7 years old and it's running beautifully. It's a company called Orbital Computers. They make trading computers, which means they just make stripped down desktops that support a lot of monitors. That's a trading computer. But they're great. I wouldn't be surprised if you could find a one that would have the power you needed there. Maybe.
probably. Usually the big question with those guys is, do they ship to Canada?
Oh yeah, I've recommended this to you before, and you looked this up, and they do not. Yeah, I told you I would have to drive it to you. I always forget that.
There used to be. I'd have to look it up again. There used to be a place, like a store, literally just on the Ogdensburg side of the border here, Ogdensburg, New York, where you could get things shipped to. And as a Canadian, you would literally just drive across the border, pick it up at the store, drive back across the border. So,
I like
and,
it. Tesla coming up here, coming up with some speed. I see some greed, but I don't know. I'm gonna give this a try. Come on, Tesla. Gotta
let's see
go.
here.
You gotta go, baby.
Oh my goodness. See how long that's taking.
Come on.
So good.
Come on, Tesla. Come on. Come on. There we go. Keep going.
So
All right, I'm moving my stop to break even on Tesla because I got a very good break out there.
Here, see, for those that are curious, here's what I'm running right now. An Intel i7 with I got two graphic cards, 8 gigs of GPU RAM, and then 32 gigs of board RAM. So it's not a bad PC. It's just for streaming, you need super power. This is not super powered enough. All right, so you said you're in Tesla, as you got the break. Yeah, good little push higher and a break. Let's see if
So I'm
Tesla
hoping to
can
avoid
hold.
the retest. Yeah, I'm hoping to avoid a retest to my entry because obviously that sucks. But that level was so strong that it makes a lot of sense that it may want to come down and test 400 before it ultimately really moves. So we gotta maybe break 4-1 here as a sign of confidence here. Come on, baby, do a little more.
And what's your entry?
400.1, 410, $400.10.
10 cents. Okay. Yeah, that would be annoying if it came back and retested that. So let's hope it
And
doesn't.
the
All right.
yeah, the longer it takes to do that, the less apt I am to try to trust that retest, honestly.
Right.
I feel like the quick ones kind of work out better for the retest.
That makes sense. Makes sense. Wow, Andrew got in early on this, or maybe just added to his trade. So he's still in Tesla. He's been in Tesla all morning. It is one trade that's running well for him, as always. Andrew is doing well, milking it. Well, not always, as usual, I should say.
It's getting uncomfortable. Come on, Tesla.
It's let's see. Come on. 401.
I want to see it run from 401.
Yeah.
Just keeps dancing here.
It
There's a
just
pullback on the SPY. That's not going to help. Damn it. No
uh,
SPY. No. No. Why do you hate me? Ugh. Bummer. Okay, I'm throwing my stop at break even on this one now. I don't want to get into a greed mode myself where I just got so close to getting what I wanted and then it doesn't happen. And sometimes that makes me
Right.
stick around too long.
Yeah,
So
you hold on for too long and then suffer a loss you didn't have to.
yeah.
Yeah, that can happen.
But I think I'm gonna get stopped out here at break even. I'm just gonna say that in the hopes that being pessimistic results in the opposite result. I guess you
You're
can't
trying
say
to
that out loud though, because the universe is always listening.
yeah, you can't verbally invoke Murphy's Law. Is it like a double jinx?
All right, here we go. All
Oh,
right, that's nice.
oh, here we go.
So I am gonna partial on this one because we had that first one where we put some money in the bank. So I'm gonna see if we can get a bigger runner out of this. So I've taken half off. I aggressively partial, by the way. I don't muck around with these 10%. I sell half. So
Okay.
I'm gonna see if I can get another one at like 402, and then I will, if it continues to try to be strong, I might look to add to this trade and build it back up a bit. But I took some
Wow.
off at 401.44, which is the that good old $0.50 level, and it was $1.50 away from my entry ish, so it'll work.
Yeah. Nice. That's good. That'll that little profit that'll charge your car for a year.
Here you go. Not at the current electricity prices.
No.
We're
So
all we're
now,
all.
oh, guys, take
What's up, Pete?
I just want everybody here to take a close look at John right now. That is a sign of a trader who's in a winning trade. Andrew does it, John does it, I do it. Soon as the hands go up and you clasp them behind your head, that's always a good sign. That means
It's so true.
your
It's
hands are
so
off the
true.
trigger. You're just waiting for profits to happen. You're like, I'm good. Let's just go.
Yeah. If you see me leaning in, it's going poorly.
Yeah. The body language of trading. It's universal.
That's so funny. That's so funny. Very true.
Interesting. You guys are talking about the market makers. Yeah, the reality is, again, I like the analogy of, we are like we are the gnats. We're the amoeba on the back of the fleas on the back of the buffalo, and the market makers are the big buffalo roaming the plains of the markets. And they don't even know we exist. They have no idea we're here. They conceptually understand that we're there, but they can't feel us. Our volume doesn't matter to them whatsoever. However, if they decide to roll around in the dirt, you will still get crushed, smushed into non-existence. So just be aware of that. That's we're just trying to follow their moves at the end of the day. That's really what our game is all about. So sarcasm is hard. uh, Nobody gets you, eh, Duong, when you're trying to be sarcastic. And all right, so let's see what happens. Tesla is hanging out here. It sort of lost that momentum, but you never know. As long as the pullback doesn't go back through 450, I think that's the key level. If it goes back through 400, and $0.50. That's then it's likely to drop all the way back down through 400. So we're watching that for John on his. John, look at this. You're carrying the load here. 3 trades this morning. So
2
all
trades,
3
I
worked
think.
out.
No, 3. No, 3. There, you're
Yeah.
right. I think NBIS. Forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Already forgot.
There you go. How soon they forget.
See how I forgot the trade that didn't work out, Peter?
Yeah, that's right. It's
what NBIS? I don't recall.
Yeah.
I'll take him.
It's like psychological coping, right? You're just like, nope, it never existed. It's like it didn't even happen. Yeah.
This is a pretty good pullback. If I happen to get back to up to the high, I'll probably add to this because it'll be an interesting achievement here, given the way it's been dying off. Not too much. I don't want to pull my break even too close to the price, though. You know what? I'm not gonna. Actually, I'm gonna leave it so I have as much room to let this work out as possible. No, yeah.
Oh, John, this company here, this is not bad. They got some. Why is their stuff so cheap?
No, yeah, they're great computers, and they come completely stripped. There's no bloatware at all. And I've had mine for 7 years, and it's like the day I bought it. I really love it.
Huh.
I've been very careful not to put anything on it though. Like I really don't like to download software, and I think that's been a big help.
Water cooled video card.
All right, I'm taking some more off Tesla up here. I wanted a bigger move, but there's a hesitation here that is making me nervous. So I did the exact opposite. I said I might add. In fact, I actually took some off up there. So now.
So as soon as you start. All right, so Tesla, certainly a good trade today. NVIDIA had a good initial move, but is dropping back down here it's at the VWAP, so yeah, not much happening there. Yeah, I like Tesla. Really was a good trade of the day. And NBIS, after that one move that John sort of looked at and partially participated in, it sold back off, and it's not doing much right at the moment, so... so here, John, if I could figure it the way I'd want to buy it, it's $3,800. So, oh, Microsoft Office. Wait, do you have to buy Office? I already have I don't have to.
No, I'm sure you don't, unless they made some terrible deal.
Comes with the OS. Yeah, okay, never mind. I can get it through my. I've already got an account. So it's four grand to configure this thing the way I'd want it. So that's a lot better than some of the other rates I was seeing. Pretty heavily kitted out.
If you ship it to my house, Peter, I'll drive it to the Canadian border for you.
Just meet you at the border somewhere.
Let's see, where is that? Must be a border crossing up in Vermont somewhere. I went up 91. I could take it to right near Stansted, Canada. How long would it take you to get down to Stansted? It's a little while.
Okay. Stansted, Canada. Let's see.
It's right on the border. I'm sure you have more than one Stansted. Actually, you know what? No, I take it up 89. I'll take it to Saint Armand. So right around there. Phillipsburg, Canada.
Okay. So that's a 3-hour drive for me to get there.
It'd be about 3 hours for me.
Okay.
I can do it. Plenty of Tesla chargers up that way. A lot of green people up there.
All right. Andrew's saying they had a great trade. He really did. He had a great trade on Tesla. He's looking at that right now, and yeah, traded well for him. For those of you that aren't familiar, here's what our chat room looks like. Whoops, grabbed the wrong thing here. Here we go. Andrew's got his little camera. You can see Brian is trading live in there. You can see his trade here. He got in real early. This is when I was looking at it. So Andrew actually pulled the trigger, though. So unlike wimpy old me, who's just watching and didn't dare to actually trade it, Andrew got in. And you can see he added quite a number of times here as it was consolidating and was still partialing all the way up here as Tesla is threatening to hit 403. So good move, John. It came back towards your entry, but looks like you probably survived, right? And you got your second partial?
Yeah, I actually took my third partial. I got paper handed on my second one. I took it a bit low.
Oh, okay.
I think I've got YouTube pressure feelings. You know what I mean, Peter? Like I want to do well for the people here. I'm only here for a day, so
I understand. That happens. So, but you persevered and you got the trade, so well done. Look at Tesla here. It's pushing up here. Looks like it's going to get the 403, I hope. Got a bunch of orders sitting up there I can see using the Atlas. There's orders all the way up to 405. Doesn't mean it's necessarily going to go get them, but I hope so.
yeah, those $5 levels and $10 levels, they tend to have more shares than your other dollar levels, and it's just an interesting thing about the market. It's very predictable. You see it all the time.
Yeah.
People like to get paid at these special levels. Don't we all, I guess? You know, we all want we want to hit that next achievement, nice milestone for your investment or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, David, the Tesla was really the best trade, I think, of the day. Everything that I'm looking at, it was really the stock that moved best. Again, NVIDIA got a little bit of early movement, but it died quickly, right? If you got this is the one move of the day right off the open here. Went from 183, let's call it, up to 185. So $2 move. I mean, Tesla obviously much better than that is, you have a good $6 move going on it now. So yeah, good opportunity. Everything else, pretty choppy, right? It's a lot of sideways movement on most other things that I'm watching. Didn't even look at my buddy AMD. Yeah, see AMD up and down. Not Micron, pretty choppy for Micron. You might have got a move right off the open if you were bold, but that's not my style of trade. Again, Tesla's the one. So Andrew is, like we said, still in it. Hoping that Tesla can get itself moving higher here. It's going to need support from the market, right? The Qs bouncing. Look at this. I mean, the Qs look nice and structured here, right? Big, strong move up, and then it sells off for a little bit. Strong move up, sells like it's like John said, consistent patterns, right? It's created the stairs. on the way up, and of course the SPY looks similar with its move higher. So we'll see where it goes. We didn't look at CRWV. It was on the gappers list briefly, and then it fell off, and I meant to come back to it, and I forgot. But yeah, it's sold off. Wow, except for that one open candle. Yeah, I've been selling off all morning here. Yeah, it looks like it gapped higher off of Friday's close, and then I was selling off back towards Friday's close, which is 81.11 is where CoreWeave, CRWV, closed on Friday. We'll see if it ends up back there. Meanwhile, we'll keep our eye on Tesla here and see what it's doing. Binks, you're asking about expecting NVIDIA for the GTC, the tech conference. Jensen Huang's doing the keynote. We mentioned this earlier this morning at 11 a.m. Pacific time, which is 2 p.m. Eastern. So I think it'll probably be 2:15, 2:30, right? It'll be a little bit after that, but wherever his comments start to affect the market, he's expected to be very bullish. He's expected to announce a new product line, the next gen processors for AI workloads. So, it's if he hits those notes hard and maybe makes some comment about where he thinks the industry is going, yeah, we could see some movement. So it'll be worth watching NVIDIA for this afternoon, but that won't be until after 2 o'clock. Well, related, unless there's a leakage. Sometimes we get a leakage of his speech. That would be interesting.
Peter, if you're ever interested, Jensen was on the Joe Rogan podcast. He had a really good talk there when talking about his life and building NVIDIA. It is a really fascinating story. It's really good to hear.
Interesting. Really? I wouldn't have thought it was that
Yeah,
interesting.
oh yeah, like gosh, his parents moved to like, I want to say Alabama or something when he was a kid. And him and his brother ended up going to this school in the way down in the deep South. Obviously, like not a lot of Chinese kids there, and he talks about his time growing up in that school and dealing with bullies and stuff, and how he this was like this boys' school where they all had these chores, and he had to clean the bathrooms all the time. It's
All right.
really humble beginnings for this guy. It's very interesting, and he talks about the early days of NVIDIA trying to sell his first GPUs, and how actually Elon was one of his first real buyers because he was trying to start OpenAI with his co-investors, and they were some of the first people to actually buy GPUs and stuff. It was really good though. It was a great entrepreneurial story of success. I liked it a lot.
Huh. But he's not. I mean, NVIDIA's been around for a while. He wasn't a founder, was he? He just came on board
I
later
got the
as an executive, I
feeling he
thought.
was. No, I think he was there in the beginning building. Or like, it may have been like Elon. There might have been an NVIDIA before he came in, but it was pretty much nothing when he was there, I'm pretty sure.
Huh.
Let's
No, you're right.
see.
He did
No,
found
he
the
was a
company
founder.
in
Yeah.
1993.
Yeah.
Huh. Okay. All right then. I didn't realize that. I thought he just joined later. I didn't know he was. Yeah.
I know
Well,
some people aren't a fan of that podcast, but he does most of the talking, honestly. Joe just kind of lets him tell his story, and it's really good. I really liked it. I love a good story. Like you look at the guy and you think like, yeah, like he's probably always been rich and he's probably some dude that went to Stanford and is just smart and fell into like a tech CEO position. But no, he built it and he put in some rough days, trying to get it going.
Jensen.
Actually, he got
Jensen
a
Huang.
loan. Oh, who was it? He got a loan from a video game company, a Japanese, one of the ones that's kind of like defunct now, I think. And they actually saved the entire company
Huh.
because they became investors in NVIDIA. Oh, I forget what company it was. I'll have to look that up. Such a fascinating story, though. It's really good.
Huh. Interesting.
Oh, Sega. No, Sega's probably still around, but yeah, Sega. There would be no NVIDIA today, Peter, without Sega. You know Sega, right? Like
Yeah.
arcade games and
Yeah.
made a console back in the 90s or 80s,
I
90s and
used
stuff.
to.
Yeah.
I think Sega made. I love to play the Olympic Games or whatever. You had to mash the buttons. You always broke the buttons on your thing because they
Yeah,
did them
yeah.
so fast. Yeah.
So Sega owned a significant portion of NVIDIA back in the day because they invested so much money to save it. So they owned, gosh, at least
Right.
10% or something. If they had held on to that today, Sega would be like one of the global players, which is funny.
If you do, yeah, it's that investment would be worth more than the value of the rest of their company, probably.
Oh,
Yeah.
totally. Yeah.
Oh, all right. Well, guys, we're still watching Tesla as it is. It's the one that's moving today. Let's see if this time it's retesting. Now, for me, if this fails, this is like the trade I like for reversals, which is John is hoping, of course, that it breaks the high of day and goes higher. I have to admit, I'm sort of hoping that it fails and goes lower. So,
Well, I just added to it.
nope. Okay.
So I doubled my position, which brings my break even to 401.39, which it had been $400.10. So it's significantly higher now. It's halfway between the two prices I bought at because I bought equal shares.
Right.
So, but I kind of have to do it at this point because I have so little position left after taking 350% partials that like it's almost, if Tesla did go to 405, that'd be a nice pat on my back for like the price move, but it doesn't make me a ton of money. So I'm going to
Right.
add to it here and see if this can work out. I need a new high day break and another move to like 350 or 44. But it's in good shape. Have not broken 403 yet. So unlike other dollar level breaks that poked above it, like this one is not broken yet. So we'll see if there's any pop that can happen if it gets up there.
Oh,
And there it
there's the
is.
break. There's the break through 403. Now let's see. Oh, it didn't stay
Didn't
there for
pop.
very long.
Nope.
Oh. So here's what I do. I'm going to take a short up here, and we'll see if I can get a drop. And maybe I can get a drop just a little bit, and I can take some profit, and then John can take over and take it long again. So
I will allow you to enjoy your drop all the way down to 401.50. That's as much as I'll give you. And that's generous. That'd be very
that's
scary
as
for me.
much as you're going to give me. All right. Well, then let's do that. Stock 401.50. That'd be good. That would be a great move for me. Because I'm in it with a pretty tight stop loss, so if it comes back and moves higher, it doesn't have to move higher very aggressively. You can see how my stop is. Oh, you know what? I don't like the look of that. That got support way too quickly. In fact, I'm gonna move. Oh, oh,
Oh, oh,
oh, oh.
ah. Let's see what the
Yeah,
spy's doing here. Actually,
I'm gonna move a stop very
last
aggressively to
3 minutes,
break
find the
even.
cues are rolling over a little bit.
So move my stop. Oh, there we go. So you came up back through and stopped me out at break even. So I'm okay with that. We'll just probably. I meant to move my stop just above 403, but it's all right. We'll see what happens here. It didn't. So it's sort of like John's, right? John, you know the feeling of your trades and what the whether they're going to move or not, what they feel like. For me, I know when I take those like whole dollars and then it really hesitates, whole dollar at a high of day. If it doesn't sort of break down hard immediately, then I'm like, I'm just getting out. I'm just getting out because I know this is what's likely to happen,
Yep.
where it sort of pops higher and then it's going to continue on its way. So there you go. So not a bad outcome for me. I'm out of break even. And John might be able to get a move on his way here. Let's see if it goes up to start to hit his targets.
I still need something closer to 404, I think, to really take some money off that. I guess that 405 is becoming more achievable now. Obviously, we're getting closer to it. So I wonder if that big order will try to pull it in or not. How much are we up now? 3.1%. So Tesla is often good for a 4 to 5% move. That's usually on a non-catalytic day where you're going to kind of top out. I tend to find, not that we should be judging things by percentage moves. I don't really think that's how day trading works, but it does seem to be sort of a topping out percentage for Tesla on days like this.
No, so T-Man, you're asking about. So it's a version of the Mountain Pass. It's not because when it came back and retested the high, it broke higher, right? Because the first test of the high here only came to 402.90. And then, when it retested, it actually broke through 403. So it did go higher on the test. So I was originally looking at a Mountain Pass. I didn't take it. I thought I'd try a whole dollar break. And, but yeah, it's, it's looking weaker. But again, it's not at a level I can trade at. Not part of my trade book. So I'll just stay out of that. Yeah, it's definitely my CPU that's running at full capacity.
It's all that Bitcoin you're mining.
Yeah. Yeah. I wish. Yeah, there's not a lot that's moving really well today. Someone mentioning SNDK. What is SanDisk doing here? Pretty flat. Pretty flat after the initial. This actually would have been a good sort of VWAP bounce trade. I wasn't watching SanDisk. That was earlier today. That would have been a nice move, but yeah, it looks pretty flat right now. NVIDIA continuing its flatness. And then, of course, whoops, we got Tesla here. It's up at the highs, but not in a hurry to go higher, it looks like.
SNDK is holding their gains well. MU gave back quite a bit, but they're both doing really well today.
All right. What else we got out there in the world? I haven't looked at Meta. We talked about Meta this morning and their layoff rumors. Looks like they haven't done much. Look at that drop off the open, recovered it all, sold off again. It's just that's interesting. Sort of a weird pattern for the chop. So, go. All right. Back to watching Tesla here, see what it can do. For John. Come on. John needs... It's okay if you want to take a breather here, Tesla, but 404.
It's too much.
Uh-oh.
Well, that 401.50 is going to be a thing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not the pullback you wanted to see, is it?
No, I think we'll be stopped out here. There we go. Out
Yep.
at break even on the rest.
Yep. No surprise on that. You can see John's chart there is... So tried the ad, that heavy pullback. It's just too much, right?
Yeah. And now that we're an hour into the day, in all honesty, the easiest breakouts have broken out. So it's not to say things can't, going forward, but it does become progressively less of a probability of getting just these easy ones where you can slap
Right.
your stop at break even because you got this momentum kind of break.
Yeah. It gets more difficult unless you got a very, a market with a lot of momentum. So, which is definitely not what we're seeing here this morning.
Yeah, a very catalytic stop will carry further into the day, and then sometimes there's a change of sentiments,
Yep.
news or something, but it just becomes this trade-off though as the day goes on. So, you know, what else do you want to do with your life? Do you want to sit here and stare at these charts hoping for kind of the low probability event to happen, or do you want to go exercise?
Right. Andrew should be rejoining us. He said he's going to come back over and share his trading day. So just waiting for him to rejoin. And then because he had a great trade on Tesla, and I think that's the only thing he traded. But he'll be able to tell us. Welcome back, John.
Morning.
I mean Andrew.
Of course, I'm here, sir.
Where is your screen? Why do I have no?
I'm Daniel. I'm Daniel.
Yep. Just got to get your screen here. There
John,
it
how are
is.
you doing, sir?
Good, Andrew. I think we both made money on Tesla this morning.
Tesla is a great company. I am really, really sorry that I was against Tesla and Elon Musk. I grow and I learn from mistakes. Tesla is a great company. Elon Musk is a great man. And honestly, his technology is amazing. I don't know why I didn't like him. That was stupid of me. But I had a pretty good day on Tesla. So let's do a quick recap. Thanks to Market Atlas. First of all, I want to say that, guys, we're going to build a replay on Market Atlas. It's already launched. So if you see my screen, let me see if you're actually sharing my screen or not. Yeah, so you see my screen. So do you can zoom in, Peter, or no, you can't zoom in on my screen?
Let's see.
No?
How about that? Yeah.
Because Carlos has you can. Let me see what we see when you zoom in. So yeah, keep it over there. So I'm going to bring my market access here here. And so we have this, soon we're going to let you live or replay. So you can actually go and replay the market atlas for education purposes to see these levels going up and down. So we don't need to really have the recording. And we also give you the option of, removing the bubbles. So I personally don't use the bubbles. So I remove it so it would be faster and more smooth way of looking at the market atlas. So that's super exciting. I'm really, excited for that. But today was all about looking at market atlas and take a trade. So Tesla obviously gapped up. So on the daily chart, we discussed that in the pre-market that we really like it gapping up. And what we saw this morning was very simple. So really, really simple. What we did was just a 1 minute opening range breakup, very strong. So we 1 minute opening range breakup. added more on the way to 400. And because the market atlas was very strong, we had all of these levels up there. We went all the way up to, we just continue adding it for a really big profit of $25,000 so far. And as you see, if I want to show you, I added multiple times as I saw the bigger orders going up. So classic 1 minute open range breakup. Was a 5 minute open range breakup as well. It was also an ABCD pattern, and it turned out to be very nice. I did try to take the same trade on NVDA, but NVDA was disappointing. So sometimes, you get lucky. Sometimes, you don't get that luck. So either what we see here was that we, get out. So I went long NVDA, but eventually saw that didn't really break out. Plus, the market access on NVDA wasn't very clean. So I got out of it, and as you see, NVDA really had a struggle to really break out. And yeah, that's it. That is the trade that I did. For me, it was pretty easy and good. And I had some TQQ from pre-market yesterday, sorry, from Friday. I sold it at the open. I went long again, but I got out of it completely. So at the end of the day, I made only $2,600 on TQQ on the overnight gap up that we had. And we call it a day. And I'm short Microsoft puts at 395 and 380 for Wednesday. So if Microsoft stays above 395 and 380, I'm going to make money on both of these. So let's see what's going to happen. And these cash secured. Any question, guys, about the trades that we did today? That was a great show, guys. I was watching you. I know Carlos is away, and sometimes when the Carlos is away, there's some technical issues that we're having on YouTube. But overall, I really appreciate the guys. You guys are doing a really great job. Where is Carlos, by the way?
He's chaperoning a field trip.
Field trip
for kids.
It's So if my audio is bad, maybe Peter, we need to upgrade your machine. How old is your machine?
It's about I think it's 5 years old now. So
it's time to buy you a new PC. So let's set up something today, and then it says impossible to hear Andrew. Really? Is it that bad? Maybe it's my. Let me check my. Make sure my camera is working.
Yeah, no, I hear it here as well, and unfortunately, I think it's again that my CPU is maxing out, so it's just causing the audio dropouts.
All right, in that case, let's get you a new PC. Yeah, I think it's the CPU. I had the same issue. I changed my computer, and now everything is just faster and much better. Yeah, so that's not good. Yeah, I noticed that there are some choppiness in there. It's the CPU, I think. Yeah, Peter gets a new PC.
Yes, sir.
Yay. Yeah, I'm so sorry about that. So hopefully we're fixing this. The fund that traders are doing pretty good. So those are really going very well. Any question, guys, about the trades that we did today? Yeah.
I think your trade was great on Tesla. The funny thing was, Andrew, I saw the exact same trade. I even called it out in the room, and I was too much of a wimp to take it, which is a shame. So because it was perfect on Tesla.
That's okay. It's better than over trading. So I totally get it. That's totally fine.
Yeah, it's good. People are going all Oprah on us. You get a new PC, and you get everybody gets it.
Yeah, next giveaway, Peter PC. No, definitely. We ordered it today. I mean, I don't know, Peter, if there's place it, you can go pick it up. That would be nice. Or, I mean, it's probably best for you to go pick it up from maybe Best Buy or something if you have any Ottawa.
I don't think they. You have to get one custom made to get multiple. To get the screen, the number of screen support.
How many screens are you using?
6 screens.
6 screens. So you need 2 graphic cards. So
They have single cards actually. They can support up to 8. So
really, so one card support up to 8 monitor?
yeah, yep.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Support up to 8 screen. That's interesting.
We'll figure it out.
8-port
Don't
graphic
worry.
cards.
So guys, keep in mind what we're talking about is streaming is a much heavier application than trading. For trading, you do not need the same level of compute power that you need to do some of the streaming and other activity. People often overbuild trading computers. If you need multi-monitor support, that's one thing to consider, and you might need a good graphics card. But other than that, frankly, the trading software isn't really that heavy. Like, it's not as intensive as gaming or some of the other stuff that you might do out there. So just keep that in mind, right? You don't always have to spend $10,000 to buy a super computer for trading. Yes, a new computer definitely cheaper than another repair of my Porsche based on what I did last year. Yeah. All right, guys. Anybody else? Again, it was fairly choppy for a lot of stuff. Get in the wrong thing, and you could have been stuck in a lot of chop. Tesla was definitely one of the better movers of the day. It's now pulled all the way back to VWAP, so looks like that upward movement is over for the time being. But yeah, a lot of the semiconductors, right, didn't move all that well. I mean, you got a good initial move on Micron. It's now pulled back below VWAP and is it's sort of at the low of day here, trending towards the low. I mean, it's not significantly lower. It's still green, right? It's still up almost 5%, but it's not at the high that it set earlier. And then some of the other stuff we were looking, Meta we talked about because of their rumor, a little choppy today. It's so bouncy. If you're a range trader, Meta's been pretty good actually, but not typically what we do. And then I was also watching PLTR, and my goodness, today was not the day to be trading PLTR. It's pretty choppy. So just that would have been a very difficult trade had you tried to get into that. So some good stuff out there, some bad stuff, right? It all depends on what you were trading and what you were looking at. You just got to, here's a look at PLTR. So yeah, whatever you traded, hopefully it worked out for you. If not, take a deep breath, right? Be calm. Not every day works out. That's just the way it goes sometimes.
Yeah, Peter, I was going to see if you have a CPU problem. Maybe what you can do is maybe you can stop your screen and then maybe remove maybe Atlas if you're not using it or something. That maybe reduce some of the loads from your PC, because I know Atlas is using a lot of computing as well. Also, and I'm sharing a screen. Maybe that helps a little bit.
Yeah, I've shut down everything that I can already. So
nice. Do until the Carlos is coming back. Is Carlos coming back tomorrow?
Yeah, it's just one day. He'll be back tomorrow.
Monday. Yeah. Thanks, John, for really covering that. So the boot camp is slowly wrapping up. So we had a lot of profitable traders, and we had some really good sessions. Next boot camp starts in May. So when we come back from Egypt in mid-April with Peter, next boot camp, and for those of you who want to really take it to the next level, I don't know, YouTube guys. I don't know if you guys want to spend any money or not. You don't seem like the group of people that don't want to spend any money, but we do we do advertise for you. um,
Throwing shade. Look at Andrew.
So this is interesting, Peter. They say your audio is fine. It's Andrew's that's choppy. So I'm curious if mine's choppy. That would mean anybody calling in. You're like you as the host are coming through okay, but maybe me and Andrew are choppy. So if anyone can give me feedback on YouTube about my audio, that might be
I think
interesting.
it's random, John, because in the morning when I was watching, you were chopping up sometimes. I think it's completely sim random. Uh,
Okay.
Yeah. Well, it would be any guest on here. Mine would probably sound better because it's direct, right? My PC doesn't have to reprocess it, whereas you guys are coming through the Zoom meeting, which means that the application here, the software's got to reprocess your audio. So, all right, we got pretty much everything shut down I can.
John,
So,
what do you think is going to happen with the war? Do you think US can secure the Strait of Hormuz?
I don't know, Andrew. I'm gonna be honest with you. I think they want to get Tehran to capitulate uh, by bombing the crap out of them without having to do anything to secure it. What you're going to have to do eventually is, well, gosh, it really depends where the stuff is coming from. Back in the day, what they would have used is shore-based missiles to fire off over the strait, and those would have been easy to identify on the shore. And you could have used like the Marines or something to go in and grab a limited ability of land to go get those shore-based batteries. But now they use those Shahed drones, and those are being used for a lot of targeting of ships, and those have a range of, I was reading this morning, 1,600 miles. It's just crazy. So Iran can produce those very cheaply from well deep within their country. It's a very tough problem because they can make so many of those things. So I don't know. This is a real puzzling one. I hope it's over soon. It's
I think so. What do you think about these 2,500 Marines that they're joining Middle East? Do they think they're going to be deployed for?
that's nothing. That's such a small number. Like that's what I'm saying. Like you could use 2,500. Carg Island, Andrew. Where all the oil
Yeah, yeah,
production. Like you could use 2,500 Marines to secure something about that size. But that'd be a terrible place to put 2,500 Marines because it'd be sitting ducks for targeting. But they can't do much. People are shocked by how many troops it takes to really hold ground and take it. It's tens of thousands, and that's why when people say like, "Oh, or is the U.S. going to invade Iran?" No, you'll know that's happening because they're going to have to muster about 300,000 troops. Like no joke. That's what it takes in terms of the combat units and the logistics and everything to back it up and to make a supply chain all the way from the coast to Tehran. It's a monumental undertaking, much bigger than the invasion of Iraq. And there's no,
How many soldiers were deployed in Iraq and support?
I want to say they did the initial invasion with 3 divisions or something. I can't remember, but all told, that probably was maybe 100,000. I'm not sure. You'd have to go look it up. It ended up being not enough in the end. If people remember, there was a General Shinseki back in the day when that kicked off, and he said, "You're not taking enough troops with you. You're taking enough to get to Baghdad, but not enough to hold everything when you get there." And he was pretty much right. Like they ended up inside Iraq with really not enough, and then you had the surge much later on to sort of catch up to that years later. But there's no movement in the army divisions or anything, and you can't keep that as stuff a secret. There's no keeping the secret of like calling up 15,000 soldiers. They call their moms and their dads and their wives, and everybody knows. And so there's nothing on the table like that at all. And the 2,500 Marines is really nothing.
Do you think this attack was a failure?
No, I don't think. I mean, obviously there's been some losses, and that's unfortunate, but they are whooping the Iranian capability. They are not just the leadership, but their especially their missile production capability, which is harder to hide than their drone production capability. So they've put a serious dent in Iran's capability to do anything. So, but it's tough. As much as you whoop on somebody and beat them up, it's amazing what perseverance can do, and that's why I think like Iran can probably keep making Shahed drones at a minimum, and if they get backing, there's always somebody backing somebody else. Like you're never alone in the world. So China may want to, you know. provide some, maybe, I don't know. Russia would certainly want to provide some support. They love to stir the pot. So if you have Russia supplying Iran, and there's direct land routes, from Russia through these we call the stand countries into Iran. There's supply lines to support that, and I don't know. It's a big question.
Yeah, it's tough. Like Russia can, unlimited supply of things through the land to them, and
Yeah, and Russia has become probably the bigger producer of these drones. So originally, back in the Ukraine war, Russia needed some capabilities. They relied on Iran, and Iran gave them Shahed drones, and they ended up being quite effective in Ukraine. And the Russians said, "We love these things. We're going to make them in Russia too." So they've engineered them in Russia, and now they produce as many, if not more, than Iran does, I'm sure. And actually, the US took the same design and they made a drone called the Lucas drone, which is a bit more sophisticated version of it. But everybody likes that design because it's super cheap. It can go super far and it can carry a 1 to 200 pound warhead, which is a lot. That you can do some damage with that. So
yeah,
that little thing there, Andrew, is going to be that little device is going to be what's problematic because Iran can keep causing trouble with those because even though they're easy to shoot down, they're very slow. They fly very low. They're not hard to see or anything, but they can make thousands of them, and it's just hard to get them all.
yeah. And so Iran could be a proxy war between Russia and US, similar to Ukraine, huh?
It could
So
be, yeah. I don't think China would want to keep this going because this is really hurting them because they get so much oil from Iran. So I think China would rather see this be over and get back to being able to get the oil that they want. But what's going on here is not just a US Iran thing or US Israel versus Iran. This definitely is a move against China as well in order to eat into their ability to get oil so that that's going to delay their plans in something like Taiwan going forward. So all this stuff is interconnected. So the U.S. is loving that China is sweating their oil supply for sure.
yeah. So here's another thing is that I noticed that is US has always been, successful in overthrowing governments in the last 80 years, especially in Latin America, South America. That's their playbook, CIA, to overthrow governments. How come they couldn't have done it in Iran yet? Or are they planning to do that? Like mobilizing people or something like that?
Uh, Andrew, having been someone who got dropped into a country that was recently invaded and told to make it into a nice place, I'll tell you, it's not an enviable task, and it's not one made for the military. And we learned that in Afghanistan and Iraq. It's just you never know. You know all the politics of Iran, I'm sure. And it's always more than you think. You think you understand the scene, and then there's way more going on that you don't understand. And there's levels of of politics and interest and what people care about. And so, like, when we invaded Iraq, I don't think the American military even had a very good idea of the Shia Sunni thing. You know what I mean? Like we knew like Iraq was 70% Shia and 30% Sunni, and we okay, that's a fact we all know. But then we got on the ground and it was like, okay, we just quote unquote liberated this country. We handed it over to whoever, but we handed a democracy to the Shias, if you ask me, in Iraq because they were 70% of the country. So any national level vote is going to go their way. But we found ourselves fighting like Sadr's army, people under the influence of Muqtada al-Sadr, if you know who he is back then. And we were kind of scratching our heads like, why are we fighting? Yeah, it makes sense to fight Saddam's old guys, like they want to maintain what they had, but we didn't envision ourselves fighting these Shia militias and whatnot out of An-Najaf and parts of Baghdad and down there. And so we just didn't understand why they would want to do that. It didn't make sense, but then it took years to kind of figure out what everyone's motivations are and stuff. So this is the kind of stuff you don't want to get involved with because who the hell knows how many layers of politics and how does Iran tick? I guarantee we don't understand that well. And I don't want to see us go through this again. I really don't.
Yeah, I mean, interesting. Yeah, I hope that like Iran is a very different thing. It's a minority that's really brutally controlling the majority of the people. And you've seen that, millions of people coming to the street, but they were not able to fight back. But what is surprisingly to me, coming from Iran, is that the system didn't collapse. Like it's very similar to like Germany. Like even when Hitler killed himself, they were fighting for another 10 days or something. It's just I was surprised that the system didn't collapse. Uh,
Well, I got to say, when the population starts to see bombs falling from the sky and they start to see their infrastructure being damaged, that is extremely stressful for everyone that lives there. And you start to look around and say, like, well, okay, we don't like the regime, but they still administratively run this country in addition to whatever else they do. But they make Iran work, right? The power plants, the water processing facility, everything, right? And so you get nervous as a population to screw with that on top of being bombed at the same time. So it's easy to say like, oh, they should rise up and revolt, but then you do that. And again, I don't know how Iran is structured exactly, but like in Iraq, when they went in, they got rid of all the bath party people, right? They did the de-Baathification thing. Well, guess who ran everything in that country? The Ba'athists. I mean, if you wanted to have like a high level job and be the guy who ran the power plant or whatever, you joined the party. It was kind of like the Nazi party back in the day. You know, like not everyone necessarily cared to be in the Nazi party, but if they wanted to keep their influence in industry or whatever, they might have done it. So I don't know if that kind of dynamic exists in Iran too, where like people are kind of scared to say, if we rise up and overthrow these guys, who's going to run all this stuff? I don't know if they're ready to do that or what.
army collapsed in Iraq. They didn't fight back that much, but Iranian army hasn't collapsed. Like they are not running.
No. Well, they can't until you'd have to go in there and fight them. Like the ground army is going to be fine. Like they can just wait this out, you know, like unless Israel and our US want to go through and start bombing every single Iranian tank and infantry carrier and all this. I don't think they've really gone that route yet. But no, the army will remain functional and fine for the most part, I think, unless you went in on a ground war and fought them. And again, we can't do that. So
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's hopefully like I'm actually very hopeful that the government would change because the opposition is really weak and they need help, like they need some sort of a support. But I don't know. I mean, that's I think everybody's probably biting their fingers.
So Zeus is asking in the chat how Germany didn't turn into crap after the war because they got rid of all the Nazis. In reality, they let a lot of those people keep working. So they sort of denazified them and made them denounce the party, but they would let them keep their job. And it was actually kind of interesting. After World War II, General Patton, who had been a combat commander in the war, became the administrative commander of Bavaria down in southern Germany. And he actually got in trouble because he hired so many ex-Nazis to run everything. And his commanders, I think Eisenhower said, "What are you doing? You got to get these guys out of these jobs." And Patton said, "No, these are the guys who know how to do everything. Like I can't. This place will fall apart. So I have to let them, stay in their positions." And I think that kind of became mostly how they operated. I don't know. It's complicated stuff, Andrew. I hope it's over soon, but I'd like to see. It'd be nice. Well, I don't know. You're from there. How so our notion is that everybody hates the regime and they want their freedom and this and that, but how much is that true?
It is very true. Like I think it's easily, I would say 90% of the people hate the government, but at the same time, Iranians are very proud people toward their country, and I would say they're pretty lazy. Like through that history, Persian Empire, like except 2,500 years ago when, we had these big empires, has been conquered many times by Afghans, by Arabs, by Turks, by and you name it, like anywhere, everybody, because it's a big country and it's very isolated different regions, and Iranians are not really that much great fighters. So like it's very different from Germans that in 100 years they blew up the war twice. So they want change, but they're not, I don't know, I mean, they don't want to get destroyed either. So it's kind of weird. Like a lot of my friends hate the government, but they said, no, don't bomb us, don't bomb us. Like Like I said, well, the freedom has a price. You got to pay for it. I'm actually somehow you like getting disappointed from Iranian because when I put it like compared to some other countries like Israelis are fighting back for their freedom, for their right to exist. Iranians doesn't seem that they want to really fight that much, but they want change, and hopefully somebody else was doing for them. But it's kind of weird, but I don't think Iranians are that much of a fighter like Germans or Israelis
Yeah.
or even
It would
Americans.
it would help if there were high level people in the military who were willing to switch sides, and that's a hard thing to do because it's, like, do you really have the backing of your soldiers if you're the general who says, you know what, I'm going to take my division and we're going to go anti-regime, and you'll have us on your side, and who follows you? It doesn't work. not
Yeah,
not
I
always.
think the coup is getting difficult all around the world is because of the obviously surveillance and intelligence. Like 150 years ago, you could run coups all the time because nobody had looking at the text or nobody was listening to. But in Iran, everybody's spying on everybody. Like if you are an armed general in the army and you want to
Right.
run a coup, you talk to some other people, it quickly gets out and you get executed. So look, it's a very weird situation. But I was hoping that maybe there's a coup in Iran, but hasn't happened yet. But also, it seems that there's a lot of decentralized operation. Like the main guys are hidden, and the people who are running, sending drones and stuff. I don't know how they get the chain of command.
Yeah, you make a good point about the secret police and the culture of everyone listening. That is I mean, throughout history, that is a powerful way of controlling a populace, and it's very scary to go against it. It really is, because you end up alone, and you just get smoked because you're the person who tried
Yeah,
to speak up.
but interesting time. We're living through a very interesting time, and I'm excited to see what's going to happen in the next few weeks. Uh, all right. So, any question, guys, about trading? Because we, just handing it over, and author is coming. If there is no question, I close my Tesla positions completely. So I cancel my order as well. It was a great trade, and I'll see how it goes. The market seems that is chopping around the VWAP right now, and I know Thor is here. It seems that he's traveling again, but I hope that you guys have time. Have a good time with Thor.
All right. Well, let's. Yeah, it's time for him to be joining. I'm looking for a Thor. Here he is. All right. He's alive. We gotta get that and get his camera. I gotta enable him. We can't hear him. There he is. You're good. You're in.
Can you hear me?
It's the Thorster. He's alive.
What's going on? Good to see
He's
you. Good to
well.
see everybody else. Yeah, I
Welcome.
am doing a little traveling. So having a lot of fun with that. Took my son to DC for the weekend.
All right. So we'll say bye. I just want to say thank you so much, John, for joining me this morning and being here. We're going to cut you off here now, so because I'm going to try and save bandwidth, so we're just going to make it Thor, and that way I can have as few people as possible. So Thor, over to you, man. So where are you? DC? Oh, that's right. You said you were going to this weekend.
Yeah,
Did you see anything fun?
yeah, DC. I mean, I saw everything fun. So we went to the main light. Actually, I thought was really cool was going to the Library of Congress. So like every fully copyrighted book has a hard copy there. So I thought it was pretty cool to know to see the place for my if everything goes south, at least a copy of my book there.
All right. So we'll have to see if this is
Right.
going to work here. Your audio is pretty choppy. I don't know if your bandwidth is up to sharing while you're traveling. And I'm also having troubles, but I've eliminated some stuff. I'm not at max anymore, so should be good at my end.
Hopefully it'll get up. Let me switch AirPods and get a low on battery. Let's see here. Grab onto that one. Any luck? Is that any better?
So far, sounds just the same.
You sound amazing. Unfortunately, it might just be a little bit good old-fashioned hotel Wi-Fi situation.
Yeah.
I'm staying in a historic hotel, so it must have historic Wi-Fi.
Yeah, I think that may be the case. So why don't we do this? We've got that connection is not quite up to snuff. We're filling in here for Carlos anyways, who's on leave. Maybe what we'll do is we'll cut our stream a little early, guys. I know how frustrating it can be when you don't have a good connection. Did you have any trades this morning? We can see if we can get through that, and then we'll give you some time back.
So today, actually, on the front of things, was actually a very booming day for me trading clients also. So I took was I got a long go on RTY that I took off an R4 call, and we'll see how it goes. Otherwise, I was just letting everybody know that this evening. I'm going to be hanging around DC with nothing better to do. So my buddy Ravzil is going to come here, and we're going to be hanging out, having a little bit of dinner at some point. So if anyone's interested in coming and hanging out and joining us, feel free to come by and let me know. You can send me a DM on my social media if you want, or MA. So if you wanted that. I think that would be totally.
All right. So again, tough to follow with. You do sound like a robot, a bad robot. So, guys,
Yeah.
Thor was saying that he's in DC and they've got a dinner tonight. If anybody's interested in joining for a little bit of an impromptu meetup, that he'd be welcome to see you. You can reach him through social media, and he can maybe connect and find a way to connect if you're in the DC area and are interested. So, we also have Rafzilla from the chat room that'll be joining him, so you can reach out to him directly. With that, despite his pretty happy face there, we'll the Bald Brothers, will maybe call it a day, and have to let you go early. So we'll give you some time in your day back. Don't worry, we'll be back to regular programming tomorrow as Carlos is back, and we'll see you then. So thanks for sticking with us here this morning, and we'll let everybody go. Later. Thanks, Thor.
All right,
Sorry about that,
Bye.
man. All right.
Bye.
Later.